got here is that we see more of what happens when he deals with something, whereas in the TV show, because they only had an hour or whatever, sometimes a problem is just taken care of. And he did that in the first movie. He just comes back and drops something on his counter or whatever, and you know that, okay, that's been solved. And there was quite a lot of that in the original TV series. We just see more in more detail, Robert McCall taking care of problems. But I think we'll talk. I'll save it for the show. I can speak to the
The show
differences.
is on.
You mean
Yeah,
the
we're
show
already
with
going live right now.
Oh, you are so big. Oh, absolutely huge. Gosh, we're all really impressed down here, I can tell you.
This is how it is. This is how it is. Today on Pop Culture Minefield. This is how it is. This is how it is. Today on Pop Culture Minefield. Today on Pop Culture Minefield.
Boy, oh boy, I love that opening tune. So we have a wonderful panel today. We have our dear friend, the 70s rock fan, my good buddy Brian, and just another red shirt has joined us, as well as Deleted Scenes is here. And he is Robert McCall right now. I want to point out, too, one of my dearest best friends, my daughter's uncle, is named Robert McCall. We all call him Mac. He's Scottish.
He's a break.
And yeah, he's a brick
dauber.
house.
You dauber.
And he's best known for stealing shit from Gary.
Oh my God. It's fucking ridiculous.
What, he
Either
takes your
breaks-
feces? He takes
He
your feces?
breaks my stuff all the time, or he steals it. Like I bought, you'll like this one, Brian. I bought a classic racing cap from Ireland. The big wool patched version cost me a good penny, made in Donegal, Ireland. And he saw it and he goes, "Oh, I like that." I went, "Yeah." He goes, "Can I wear it?" I'm like, "Sure." I never saw it again.
That's
He's
right.
never he'll find something of mine that he likes, and I will never see it again. He go, "Oh yeah, I'll get that back to you, motherfucker."
He liberated it from you.
Yes,
Exactly.
he did. So we're going to be talking about Denzel Washington's second trip into the Equalizer territory with Equalizer 2. As you can tell from the beginning of the show, there's some interesting opinions here. And we're going to dig deep into those opinions. Mostly it's just Martin being an asshole. He's so opinionated. I don't know about you guys.
No, I am not.
He has an interesting opinion, and it's not wrong. It's not wrong. I don't wholly agree with it, but I don't think he's wrong. I think he's right. But I'm okay with it because in the end, it's about justice, serving justice, and doing the right thing. And that's what Robert McCall is all about. That's what he was in the book. And the book did not come out first, by the way. The book came out later. And it made it clear, though, who Robert McCall was in that book. And what's funny is he was so impressed, the creator of Equalizer was so impressed with Denzel in that first movie, he made the character be more Denzel-like. And I was kind of impressed with that. And Denzel owned it. But sadly, Denzel is now officially retired from the character. And I have made a suggestion, and I think it's a good, solid suggestion, because of some of the resemblance, but more so because of the biology, is that if he continues making Equalizer films, because the director wants to make more, he's very interested in doing more, that he continue with Junior, his son. I like him as an actor.
Yeah.
I liked him in Tenet. I like him as an actor, damn it. He's a good actor.
Yeah.
And it would be interesting to see the son take on the mantle of this great fucking role. If they're going to continue.
I
the
would
film.
give him the opportunity. I think he deserves
Absolutely.
the opportunity.
So
Absolutely.
it will be the nepotizer.
I like that one. That was good.
Hey, as long as it's Antoine Fuqua in charge, I'm good with it.
Well, he made a statement that he's ready to do another film. It's Denzel that's not interested.
Yeah, and it's a lot of
God damn it,
work
he's
for a
like
man
70.
who's
Yeah, he's 70, man.
I get
He's
that.
kind of done with the action films. He was great in these films, but I get it. He wants to hand it off to somebody else. And I say, we go back a bit, and restart the franchise, showing how he began.
Couldn't he just take the star of the last television version and put her in the movie?
Oh no, please no.
Oh, wait a minute. Oh boy.
That's
No.
like suggesting that an STD is a
if you
good
want
thing.
to I'm sorry. If you want to start talking about that version, I'm leaving. Bye.
We'll not talk about that version. But seriously,
Come
that's like
on.
suggesting
You'll
maybe
have
you
to
should
get,
get an STD.
I'll have to get Mrs.
It'll
Red
make you a
Shirt
bit-
in here. You could talk to her.
You'll be a real man if you get an STD.
The misogyny in this panel. I'm with Brian.
only
Let's talk about it.
It's only misogyny if we hate the woman. But I don't hate the woman. I hate the show.
It doesn't shock me anymore.
Yes, I hate the show. It's not her fault that she's been
No, it isn't.
cast or accepted the part. Who's going to turn it down,
Yeah,
Right.
it's money. It's paycheck.
Yeah. In another era, it may have worked. Who knows? But the thing is, actually, the fact is that the character of the Equalizer doesn't have to be Robert McCall. Strictly speaking, it could be anyone that assumes the mantle of the Equalizer could be handed down to somebody for sure. Yeah.
Well, that's interesting, Wolvie, because he had a wife. Because this film ends, the third act ends where he lived with his wife, and we know that her death had a huge impact on him, which is why he broke.
And I don't
from
think
the
it has
CIA.
to be Robert McCall's child that becomes the Equalizer. Doesn't have to
I don't
be.
think so either. I just think that Denzel's son would be the first one to offer it to, but we should just continue the stories.
I mean,
Let's start with the younger actor like Bond.
Well, or just to take from this movie, the art student who is talking to him while he's cleaning graffiti off of the wall of the apartment complex that he lives in. Train him up, make him the next Equalizer. Do the right thing. I mean that.
And
I think
name
the
it
point is
that.
that yes,
Name it
you
that.
got to
kid
get
is an
somebody who has.
artist, though.
Equalizer, do the right thing.
Well, yeah.
Oh wait,
I mean,
Spike Lee did that.
Look, spies aren't actually usually like Vin Diesel or somebody like that.
They're people that blend
the
in.
art is not being seen and not noticed.
Yeah, they blend in. They just there's nothing interesting about them.
I mean, if you've watched, and I've read both the books.
We know that historically they've used people in the entertainment industry as spies, as well as in the science field.
Right.
And entertainment, because entertainment people blend in because they're celebrities. And the most famous, of course, is Mata Hari. But in one of the stories I wrote, The Comedian, a stand-up comic learns that he's being inducted into the CIA as an operative to gather information, and he's not the only one. That there are other people in the entertainment field who do these jobs whenever they're overseas because they're welcomed in so many places because they're famous. I'd rather a revival of the 80s series with William Zabka reprising his role as Scott McCall.
That would
Who's William Zabka? I don't recognize that name.
Karate Kid.
Karate Kid, sweep the leg.
Oh, him.
Yeah, he was McCall's son.
He was
He was
in the
McCall's
original
son.
series.
Yeah,
Mhm.
That's right.
but he wasn't that much into the.
No, he was only in selected episodes, but the one where they
Yeah,
went together as a father-son bonding trip to a cabin in the woods is one of my
I
favorite.
don't see.
Yeah.
I don't see him doing equalizing things. Not William Scott. I don't see Scott doing that.
No,
No, it's moved
I
on.
tend to agree at his age. I think that the reprise of Karate Kid is actually was written very, very well. I don't think lightning is going to
I
strike
haven't watched
twice
the
and
new
have
season
him.
yet. I'm looking forward to binging it.
Yeah,
So if they make too many more of these, they should start calling them the sequelizer, shouldn't they?
I like that.
What is you and Martin today with the puns?
We smoked the same weed today.
He smoked
We
Ah,
did.
weed.
that's-
We did. If only it had been in the same room, Martin. That would have been good.
Yeah. Well, nobody knows.
That's true.
I don't have a camera.
That's true.
I may be right there.
I'll have to come and visit you then. My next trip to Mexico.
Oh, please.
Oh, I'd love to. But
Well, they're
we'll see.
trying to
normally,
stuff Mexico.
normally I go
right
to
now.
Cancun. Normally I go to Cancun, so it'd be a bit out of the way. But
Cancun's great, by the way, but anywhere on the peninsula is awesome. I love going in country to
on the
Chichen
Baja,
Itza. It's just wonderful there, and over on Baja, yeah.
I love the
Because that's
Baja
where my
too.
brother-in-law is from. He is from the coastal waters of Mexico, Baja, and that's how I got introduced to some of the other Mexican food, which he cooks a lot of seafood, Mexican style. That's really fucking good.
What do you mean,
Martin could be a woman for all we know.
What do you mean could be?
You
thought
don't
he
know if
was.
I identify as one.
I thought he was. The bearded
We
lady.
just assume. Deleted scenes, of course, is here. Emmanuel is here. Let's see. The Comic Relief Crusader, my buddy Mike, is here. Inner
Why
Circle,
are you not on the panel,
Wolverine,
Mike?
626, and Tim is here. We owe Tim a video.
Oh, yeah. Give me a
We
second.
all
please.
owe Tim a video.
Inner Circle is here.
Okay, here we go with theme videos.
By what name are you known?
There are some who call me. No, now go away or I shall taunt you a second time.
Icky for tang. Only biscuit.
Well, I'll
Bell.
tell you, Denzel's is far more a violent, film franchise than the TV series was, because they're showing that side of his character, what he's dealing. That when things get out of hand for somebody, he's there to handle it for them, which includes the violence. By the way, I do need to know when we get a breach because I have a special breach video for today.
Okay.
Then we will have to
All right.
engineer a breach.
once more into the breach.
Indeed.
You'll see it. It's just under the following people are gay. It says EQ2 backdoor.
We're getting into Gary's breaches.
Yes.
Nobody
Oh,
wants
you
that.
went there.
Okay.
What?
See?
What anima?
Uh,
I said nobody wants that.
Oh, to get in
His
my
breeches.
breeches. Thanks, honey.
No one wants that.
You know
Well-
what grinds my gears?
eventually you will, so make your peace with that.
No, she'll just say things like, put that away. Put it away.
Maybe.
Don't
You're-
point that thing at
Okay,
me. It
you
might
need to
go
stop
off.
it, Anima. You're just antagonizing the situation.
I'm
You want me?
not
I'll
doing
play the
anything.
video. I will play the video. You keep it up. Fuck it. I'll play the video.
But she,
Hey, man, where are you, German?
Yeah, fuck you.
And because
Hey,
I
we're
did
adding
the
it.
job I had an interview with, and I have a week to go find something, and I'm sending resumes out like a madman.
Oh, that sucks.
Well,
I
you mean
feel
sending them out like yourself, because we all know you're a bit of a madman.
Just identify as if you'd already got the job. Just go in to work. Like be like a Costanza. Just go in. You know,
Costanza.
It's so hard
Just-
to find
just
a job.
Assume the job.
just assume the job.
Right.
You know, by the way, Brian, it's funny when Miko wrote the afterward for the book Iron Sky, based off of, well, it's the prequel to the film Iron Sky, and he wanted to point out how I had just inserted myself into the production. I just walked in and said, "Yeah, I'm your artist," and just started working.
You inserted yourself in the back end of the
Yeah,
job. You sneaked in the rear.
Gary came in through the back door.
You came in through the back door to get the
Yeah.
job.
get in.
There's a breach.
Came in through the bathroom.
yeah, but it doesn't count if it comes
Put
from
that
the
back
panel.
up.
So
I
Put
like,
that
yeah,
back up, I
I
wanna read
love this kind of trivia. I adore this kind
Yeah.
of trivia.
Yes, actress Melissa Leo, Denzel's version of Control, guest starred in the 3rd episode of the original
Awesome.
series.
Awesome.
Yep.
That is really cool.
Oh, wow.
It is. Very cool. When you look back at these shows from the 70s and 80s and 90s and you see who guest starred in them, some of the episodes, I love that stuff. All these great actors and actresses that did these parts regularly on lots of shows. It's fun. Fun trivia.
Now, how many of you watched the entire series?
I did.
Well,
The
the original
original?
one? Yeah, I saw them
Yeah.
all.
I own them.
Oh, flexing.
Yeah. I'm your Tom Connors for today, folks.
Do you like turtles?
Turtle.
I like turtles.
Am I not
Turtles.
turtle enough for you? Turtle.
So I was a
Cowabunga,
big fan of
dude.
I was a big fan of Edward Woodward from before because he made a
Oh,
British show called Callan.
Mhm.
which is
CALL.
considered the prequel to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Brutally realistic, realistic, violent, kind of he wasn't a cop, although he might have been, I can't remember before, but yeah, he did similar things and he was more of a secret agent type than a cop, I guess. But yeah, Callan was a great
the
show.
way
I was
I've
only a
read
kid
it
when it
is-
was on.
Well, what I've read
Wow.
is that Callan is considered like his character before he retired
Yeah.
from
Yeah,
intelligence.
it was Secret Service more than a cop. I seem to recall. I was quite young when it was on,
Mhm.
but it was he became a big star because of that. And I
Yeah.
guess it was fun to see him pop up on this glossy American show, The Equalizer, like seeing it as he'd been in this gritty British thing. He didn't seem like the kind of British actor that was cut out for stardom on an American mainstream show, but there it was, and he did it. It was great.
Well, I mean, I had a friend in college who lived in Manhattan. I visited him. His mother actually worked in the crew on this. And he's got a t-shirt or a sweatshirt, he told me, from the production of the original Equalizer series. Because I don't know, she worked with the caterers or she drove people around to locations. And I gotta say, having set it in New York in the 1980s, it was pretty gritty. It wasn't quite Death Wish, but it was, New York back then still had places where if you made the wrong turn, got lost, you were in a bad neighborhood. I did appreciate in this movie
Same thing
seeing
with St. Louis, by the way.
Yeah, well, they did a good job of making you feel it was New York, but this movie at least, they really were in Boston because that was definitely the Zakim Bridge. Probably the only really good thing that came out of the Big Dig in Massachusetts besides the Ted Williams Tunnel. So
Yep.
it's
Whoa.
like Hudson Hawk or whatever it was. At least this is a recognizable show set in Boston. That's why I love the Boondock Saints, because you can tell it's Southie.
Yeah.
But yeah, there was a definite New York feel to the original series, which without having Robert McCall without having us see all of the things he wound up doing, because after all, it was a primetime show on television. They couldn't. At least in these movies, they have the opportunity to have Denzel hit that timer on his watch, which I just love that. It's kind of like when I was talking about the outlaw Josie Wales, excuse me, the outlaw Josie Wales. You get a little tell that all hell's about to break loose, and at one point, the chief is watching him, and he's being confronted by two men, and suddenly the camera cuts to his companion, the Indian chief, and the Indian chief goes, "Okay, now spit," and Clint Eastwood spits, and it's like, that's it. We're going live now, and in this movie, yes, he hits when when things are about to go completely pear shaped, when he looks down at his watch and he hits the button and starts his stopwatch timer on his watch, and it's just it's exactly like that. It's like, okay, here we go, folks, buckle up.
He does the same thing right here in this scene.
I like
We had a question
Denzel's
about the watch
disguise.
thing from chat, guys.
Watch.
Hey, Gary.
Why he always starts the timer? Somebody in chat wanted to know.
Gary,
He's
check
paid
your.
by the second.
He's checking his skills. He's
Paid
checking
by
to
the
see if his
second.
skills.
In the
have
first
lessened.
in the
He's
first
OCD.
movie, he doesn't make it explicit in this movie, but in the first movie, when he walks into the office with all the Russians, he looks around the room and he spots every person and decides how long it will take to deal with each of them,
in which
and he
order?
mutters under his breath 16 seconds, and he sets his timer on his watch. And then the action begins, and he takes out every Russian in the room, and you hear him click the watch, and it goes beep, and he looks down, and we see on the screen 19 seconds. And you know that he's thinking in his mind,
I'm
I'm
getting
getting
slow.
a little slow in my old age. That should have
Yes.
been 3 seconds faster.
Well, he
Kinda
makes some
annoyed
great
by that.
expressions too,
Yep.
because he's annoyed by it. It's like
Yes.
he's pursing his lips, and I fucking love that. He does it again here. I paused it because I wanted to get into this scene. This again is him pulling an equalizer where he's helping somebody because this lady's husband, who is from Turkey, has kidnapped the daughter to hurt her and take the daughter to Turkey. And he's like, I've come to take the kid back because what you did is just fucking mean. You know, it's not because you're the better parent and she's abusive. You did it because you just wanted to hurt her. And I'm not going to let that happen.
Well, it's I love the fact that they appear to be two strangers on a train talking about a hypothetical third person when both of them know
Yeah.
that Denzel is talking about the man he's talking to.
But
And he says, I would not do that. That would be a dangerous thing for you. And by the way, I apologize. I don't know how I got this frog in my throat, but my voice is shot for the last.
this
I don't know. It's kind of sexy.
This opening
Gary,
sequence.
I don't want to hear that you think my voice is sexy.
Okay, I like
Go
it
for it,
too.
70s.
Better?
Hold on.
All right,
70s.
all right, that's better.
70s. Go ahead. 70s. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
This opening sequence speaks to what we were talking about before the show started and when Red Shirt was talking about when it started. It kind of sets it apart from the first movie a little bit because it's overseas in an exotic location. It's not local to where he's living in the first movie. And it shows a little bit more of his skill set in disguise, operating abroad, more of the secret agent in him, rather than the domestic avenger that he is in the first movie. So it is different, I think. It's a different flavor. It's not a worse flavor. It's just a different flavor. It's expanding his universe. His universe is expanded.
I mean, to me, this compared to the original series, this is like watching a TV series and then going off and finding all of the behind the scenes and the making of videos that we all love so well. This is the other side of Robert McCall that we didn't get to see in the television show, but it was there. It's just that it was a jump cut and he showed up back at his apartment and dropped his keys and hit the button on his answering machine to see if he had any new messages, and that was all you saw in the TV series. In the movies, we get to see him don a disguise, go to Turkey, ride on a train, find the man he's looking for. And as soon as it started, I said to Mrs. Redshirt, he speaks Turkish fluently. He's pretending that he doesn't, but he knows every single thing they're saying in this scene. And even though we don't know that,
all these skills.
Yes, he's got the skills. 2 minutes into the opening scene before the credits, he's got this whole thing nailed down, and the guy he's after doesn't even know who he is or why he's there yet, but he's going to find out. That's a wonderful intro to the movie.
Indeed. And he gets to do his shit.
Absolutely. I do want to thank, we've got some more folks that have dropped into the show. We've got Inner Circle. We got our good friend Andy Morrow here, as well as my buddy Adega Outlaw is here. So hope everybody's having a good Saturday.
Nice. Indeed.
I'm going to ask a question of the audience. Which of the Equalizer films is the best, in your opinion? Let's do
the audience.
I cannot participate. I haven't seen the third one yet.
Well, the third one's good.
We just watched the beginning last night of the third
No,
one.
I don't doubt it. It's good.
And she loved the beginning. She was like, "Oh my God, that's great."
Yeah.
And I like the character development in the third one because he's injured at the beginning, but he's also older, and clearly feeling it. As well as being injured, of course, badly injured. But sorry, plot spoiler. But so all three of them have a little bit of a different flavor because of the different settings in some instances. Or
first one's in America, second one's partly in America, a little bit at the beginning in Turkey. The third one is absolutely not here; it's overseas.
And they do. Yeah, and it's a great setting as well, and I think it's in the Amalfi Coast somewhere. But
yes,
that's
the only thing I know that is in Amalfi.
That town is in a lot of stuff.
The beginning is in Italy, yeah.
But again, it starts with him doing more secret agent shit, kind of.
And he speaks Italian too.
Yeah.
By the way, our Muslim uncle is here, and I invited him because I've missed him. He just kind of dropped off for a while after Quabi. And I said, come on back. Dude.
Yeah, good to see you, buddy. Yeah.
Yes.
So it's good to see our Muslim uncle is here.
I'm going to have to answer this question. This is tough. This is a tough question to answer. It doesn't mean that if we pick one as the best that we don't love all three. It's just
of course.
A matter of
There's
degree.
always one that's absolutely. You're 100% right, Brian.
Based on the two that I have seen, I have to go with the first one.
I did too. And I think just because the first one was so brilliantly done in every respect, the his portrayal of the character is so great. And I liked the fact that he was dealing with these local issues in a sense. There wasn't the world hadn't expanded yet as it does in the second and third movies. It was just him dealing with people around him and their problems.
I also see in the third film that he's in his, he's clearly older.
Yes.
And he's just sort of wanting to find a place to just live and stop having to worry about things.
Yeah, as good as the second and third ones are, I had to go for the first one. I just think it set the standard.
It's a better film.
Yeah.
I
Of the
like
three,
the
it's the
first
better.
one. I like the first one the best at this point, having seen all three of them, but not all of them recently. But having been a huge fan of the original series when it was on television, I liked the fact that in the first movie, they gave us a lot of Robert McCall's character as Denzel Washington was going to play him. So it was easier to see that the concept of Robert McCall was being redone. It was a brilliant remake. It wasn't supposed to be Edward Woodward, and it wasn't just a postmodernist Netflix decision to cast Denzel Washington. We found out why they chose to use Denzel Washington to tell a story very much like the original Equalizer. And the third movie I've really enjoyed because I was dying to see it, but given what we talked about the producer and the director or anybody else who wants to make more and Denzel Washington saying, I'm not sure I can still do that, they didn't really end a trilogy in the third movie. And had it had closure, I might have said the third movie would be my favorite because I was certainly looking forward to seeing them bring this around to a close, and it didn't. And if Denzel Washington doesn't do any more of them, I will stick with the first movie being my favorite. But mainly because it was a new character, but they didn't make me feel like they were simply replacing one actor with another with exactly the same character. We got to know a completely new Robert McCall, and it made perfect sense.
Yeah, I agree.
Well, thank
Well,
goodness
so
for that.
far,
Somebody
it's a
agrees.
landslide, guys.
Shut up,
With
Red
6
Shirt.
votes in,
Dick.
6 votes in, and all say the first one is the best.
We need more votes. More votes.
Yes,
Go vote,
please.
people.
Going back a few scenes to the Orson Bean subplot, and rest in peace, Orson Bean. I have heard people say they think that subplot is extraneous. Why is it there? It slows the movie down. I disagree. That's the B story, because every Equalizer episode had a B story. The Orson Bean subplot is the movie's B story, much like Ralphie was the B story of the first film. So I'm for it. I dig it. I get why it's there.
No, I agree. And yeah, he was always working. There wasn't always just one thing going on. Sometimes cases overlap, or think something is in the process of being finished while he started something new. So it makes perfect sense from the TV. Going back to the TV aspect of it, he's not just doing one thing at one time. However, yeah, the first film was closest to the TV concept, I think. Not that I don't enjoy the second and third movies, but I think Antoine Fuqua's kind of throwing in a little bit of other stuff, a little bit of Bourne, a bit of Taken, a bit of those contemporary spy type thrillers. There's a little more of that in the second and third movies. Second one particularly. Nothing wrong with that. But what a great director. He's always been one of my favorites. Still is. Fabulous director.
Yeah, and this one, he's former intelligence and military. So they kind of make him American. But I wouldn't mind to see an English actor take over the role, because that's who started it.
Ollie
No.
Salmon.
Oh, yeah, I was going to say Idris Elba. If you
always
want
too old. He's too old. This is the
now,
thing.
yes.
When you're
But
going to
according
cast
Denzel,
somebody,
apparently he is too.
when you have an IP, I want to make this clear. This is something Keith and I go into all the time. That if you have an IP and you're going to recast a role, you don't want somebody that's already at the right age. You want to get somebody who's about 35, so you get a minimum of 10 years out of them,
right,
before they age out of the role. And they've been doing that actually with James Bond pretty well.
Yeah, but But McCall has always been old.
Yeah, but my
Not my
fear.
point.
By the way, you said military intelligence. Isn't that an oxymoron?
I didn't say military
It
intelligence.
is.
I said
No.
he was with an agency, and he was special forces in the military.
You see,
That's what I said.
you were talking about humor. You just deliberately blanked me there. I know you did.
Oh,
I said military
Oh.
intelligence isn't an oxymoron.
well,
It's a contradiction in terms.
contradiction in terms. Yeah. When it becomes redundant is U.S. Army counterintelligence. That's
So what I would
contradiction in
fear
terms.
about this, if the Equalizer continues, and my fear would be that it would continue without Denzel and maybe Antoine Fuqua. He said he wants to do another one, but what if he dropped out? It would become like the Transporter series, and it's a series of diminishing returns when the people that made it so good to start with are gone, and then it kind of it kind of diminishes.
That is,
So how
it absolutely is. And by the way, Anima did not like the Transporter. We
I
got
love the
10
first
minutes
one.
into it. She goes, "It makes no sense. Why is she? What is she doing? Why is she?" And I'm like, "All right, I'm done. I can't."
First one's
I can't,
awesome.
I can't.
Yes, the
explain
first
it.
was awesome.
Yeah.
The fight in
Well,
the oil was incredible.
We didn't
Yeah.
get to the scene, one single action scene.
Anima,
As
come
to
on.
what made the
I
film so
couldn't.
good.
I just couldn't with this.
I think
movie.
she deserves a
she-
spanking. A spanking.
hang
I
on a
swear to
second.
God, it is. If she ever got a spanking for anything, it was for interrupting that fucking movie. Because I'm
Can
like,
somebody
the movie
correct me
is great.
if I'm wrong? Can somebody correct me if I'm wrong? But the same director did the first Transporter and did Taken with Liam Neeson.
Yes,
Did Luc
Okay.
Besson do Taken?
Luc Besson.
I can't remember.
Yes.
Besson?
Okay.
Mark,
What I
Mark
got
Center
from-
is absolutely right.
If somebody backed me up against the wall and said, answer this question or we're going to tear your head off, and said, what do you think about Luc Besson's films? I would have said they are a series of absolutely improbable coincidences that lead to the end of the film. And I would
Yeah,
say
most
that
of his
about the
stuff.
first Transporter, and I would say
Fifth
that about
Element.
Taken.
And
There
the
are
Fifth
9
Element.
million things that could go wrong in each of those movies, and none of them happen.
I've always been a fan, though, and I know he's made a few duds, but I think he at least tries to do something, and it's outside of the Hollywood system because it's European, and he's tried
Well,
to
he
make.
thinks outside the
great-
box, Brian. Exactly.
Yeah, he makes great entertainment. He loves to do good action stuff. He's never particularly woke or any of that.
I'm not a
Um,
fan of The Fifth Element, but I know it's a good film.
It's the
It's
same
a
as
fun-
Oh, I
that and
love that one.
Valerian. That and Valerian, they're fun movies, but they're bonkers and they make no sense.
Right.
Yes. I will
But
tell
Gary
you
Oldman
right now,
playing an Garrett, wait a minute. Gary Oldman playing an interstellar arms dealer. That's worth the price of admission to Fifth Element all by
It's so
itself.
crazy in that fucking movie with that weird
Yeah.
plastic hat thing. But no,
Yes.
I want to point out Gary Oldman in The Professional is probably
yeah.
one of the best cinematic villains in the history of film.
Oh god, yeah.
Yes, it is.
He's so insane and deranged, and when he's standing over Leon, and he says, Stansfield, he says, at your service. This is from Matilda. And he hands him something, and he opens his hand, he sees it's the pen, and he looks down and he opens his coat and all those fucking grenades. He goes, oh shit. That's like what a great fucking ending to a movie.
And they did both. They did almost exactly the same thing with his own bomb on the luxury
Yes.
cruise ship.
That's right.
He set it, and all of a sudden his bomb comes, or the other bomb. He obviously he deactivates his bomb, but then the alien species, their bomb pops out of the box they brought with him, and he goes, "Oh shit!" It's exactly the same.
Yes,
thing.
Wolverine's right.
Corey Ewan. Yeah, Corey Ewan.
Yeah.
Rest in peace. He,
But,
he
you know,
did
Besson's
direct, but it
produced
was
stuff
written and
too.
produced by Luc Besson.
Yeah, and he produces
Okay.
a lot of stuff that he doesn't direct. Yeah, so I admire the fact that at least he tries, and he tries to do his own thing. And he's done it largely outside
Like
of
that
Hollywood.
District.
So
What French
So
one?
I would
What
say
was that?
Anima. I
Where
would
they,
say if it's a,
hold on, Richard. Hold on,
yes, I
Richard.
will.
What was that? What was that film that he produced? That was like the city is blocked off in Paris, and you go by blocks. And
District B13.
Banlieue.
Holy shit, that was a good film.
Yeah, I like his
The
early
first
stuff.
one.
Go ahead, Richard. I
First
just
one.
wanted to throw that
Okay,
out there.
Anima. Whether you watch the first Transporter or you watch Taken, it's to me either one. No matter who directed it, it's the story is the way Luc Besson makes movies when he's on a roll and he wants to take you on a roller coaster. Now, if you've
And
ever
that
been a
is
fan of
what it
roller coasters make no sense because they always finish up where they start. So why did I go on this trip? But with a Luc Besson movie, you check your skepticism at the door and you go along for the ride. And when you hit the drop, you scream. And that's a Luc Besson movie. And if you want to watch Taken or you want to watch First Transporter again, forget the other Transporters to watch the first one. Just get in the car and go for the ride.
By the third film, he's just he's a terrible father. By the third film,
yes,
and husband. It's like this
I
guy.
don't think I will ever go
Why
back
does
to that
anybody want to be with him?
Yeah.
But I will say the first film, when he sticks those spikes into the guy's legs as to connect the electrodes from the battery, was one of the most intense fucking moments I've ever seen in a movie. He takes those spikes and just shoves them into his fucking leg. I'm going to electrocute you. I'm going to torture you with electricity now. Fuck, man. The lengths that a father will go for his child. I love that movie.
Luc Besson, he did write 3 Days to Kill 2, right?
Yes, I think so.
I like that
Is
movie
the
too.
Costner? Is that the Costner?
Yeah, like the one with
finds
Kevin
out he's
Costner.
dying.
It's a good one, yeah.
From a disease.
I like his early stuff, like Subway with Christophe Lambert. And
Nobody
stuff
even
like that.
talks about that. Christopher
I
Lambert.
love that stuff.
Yeah,
I'd seen
I love
that when it was
flick.
out. Yeah, I saw that when it came out. Yeah.
Deep Blue is another
Deep
one I
Blue,
love.
La Femme Nikita, all these.
That's where I got introduced to what's his name that played Leon as an actor. And
Jean
I was
Reno.
watching that back in the 80s. Yeah, Jean Reno. And I fell in love with him as an actor. I'm like, this guy's amazing.
We should do Wasabi.
I love Wasabi, dude. I would. Would you join me, Brian? Redshirt, have you
Yes.
seen it?
Oh, I do that. Yeah.
Stephen, have you seen it?
I'll have to find it
I
because I've
haven't
never
seen it.
heard of it.
Watch it. We will do that in the next few weeks. Because I like that movie, Wasabi.
I'll have to find it.
Another over-the-top fucking Luc Besson movie.
Yes.
This time in,
that
in
works
Japan.
for me, man.
Am I going to enjoy this or will this be a chore?
No, you're going to enjoy it.
It's funny because we're watching Equalizer 2 here, and I feel like almost that the Equalizer movies are a little closer to Luc Besson's world
They
than they
are.
are to
why
standard
this is-
American thrillers. Yeah.
This is exactly why this is a great conversation we're having right now, because it is Antoine Fuqua made his version of a Luc Besson film.
Yeah, I think so.
With
yeah.
these three films.
I agree.
Indeed.
The book scene in the first film with that guy that thinks he's gonna rough Denzel up. He says, "Now stand up, don't make any trouble, or I'll have to kill you." And so as he starts to stand up, he fucking hits him in the solar plexus with the book, and then uses the book to break his fucking neck. Great. That's Luc Besson.
The pen is mightier than the sword.
Yeah, the pen is mightier than the sword.
Well, the print.
If you've ever read, forget the movie for a moment. If you've ever read the Iger Sanction, the Lou Sanction, which were anti-James Bond novels, at one point, Hemlock, who's the assassin played in the Iger Sanction by Clint Eastwood, is told by his boss that you have to go back for qualification and self-defense training. And Jonathan Hemlock is not happy about that because he says, I've retired. And they said, well, we can make sure that your paintings collection disappears if you don't.
Hmm.
So he's essentially captured by the agency.
You
He
can
hates
never
it,
escape.
but he has to do their bidding because they know a secret that he can't have let out, which is all of the paintings that he owns illegally in his basement. So he goes to the training, and he's sitting backwards in a chair with reading a magazine when the special air service instructor comes over and tries to give him a hard time and says, "I see on your record that every single time you have taken this course, you have been declared not qualified, but passed. What in the heck does that mean?" And Jonathan Hemlock stands up and rolls up the magazine and jams it in the man's eye, knocks him to the ground, slams the chair over his neck, sits down on him, and says, "Now, let's have a conversation. I bet I know what you're going to write on my report for this training session. Not qualified, but passed."
Hmm.
And he
But
gets up
passed.
off the chair and he walks out of the gym, and that's the end of his first.
You know,
That's this kind of thing. It's like it's that attitude. I don't need I don't need your rules. I do things my way.
You see that, and then I wonder if that's where they got the scene in The Bodyguard when Costner does the same thing to the guy. Says, "I don't want to have this conversation again." You know?
I wouldn't be surprised. Because again, I mean, I am not a huge fan of the movie The Eiger Sanction, although I love Clint Eastwood, but it's not one of his best movies. But the books are very good because they go into far more detail. And
I will tell you this: that The Eiger Sanction was loosely based off of a true story. A lot of people don't know that.
Really? Wow.
Very loosely based. It was based on the 1939 attempt to climb the Eiger.
Wow.
Because what happens in the film and in the book is close to what happened.
Was that when they took the rope off the Hinterstosser Traverse and they couldn't get back down?
I just suggest go look it up. The true story that inspired Eiger Sanction.
Okay, I will. Because that's interesting. I've read about the North Face
on Wikipedia, but I'm not sure. But I think there is.
That's too much of a digression even for me.
Have we had any breaches yet?
No, nobody wants to do it today. Man,
we need Monkey. Monkey, there's no real breaches unless it's Wade or Monkey.
Yeah, but Wade is lazy sometimes.
Yeah, he just wants his video without effort.
Yeah, he's just like Gary's back door. It's like, you're not even trying, man.
That's not even trying, is it? It's not penetrating enough.
Whoa!
Hi, Penny.
Oh, hi, Penny.
Penny.
There we go. Penny did it.
Yes.
Thank you. So now I get to play the new video. Here you go.
Honey, the front doorbell is broken. Your old army buddy was at the back door for almost 5 minutes.
Good one.
5 minutes?
Why does it take so long to get in the back door? I mean, 5 minutes is a long time.
Ouch.
That's what she said.
One of my favorite things about this film is that piece of shit gets killed in it. I love it when he dies.
Yeah.
Game of Thrones.
Satisfying, isn't it?
Yeah. I can't stand that guy.
Yeah, thanks for calling everybody who lives in the South and Yahtzee a piece of shit.
Well, I got to tell you, Wolfie, man, third season was awful. It got woke.
I didn't even bother.
Woke as fuck. It was ridiculously over the top woke. They went a little woke with season 2. Very little. It was palatable. I could tolerate it. Third season was just ridiculous, or as my buddy would say, redonkulous.
I hate it when they ruin good things by going woke.
When they do what?
Yeah, I said it. They ruin it.
Ruin, Brian, ruin.
They ruin it.
There's some
And
words
Now,
that I just
amazingly,
use.
she has no chance to win, but I love that she got some hits in,
spirit.
guys. And
She's
stabs.
not going down without a fight. Yeah. I hate that she has to die, though. I like the character.
Yeah, they should have killed the husband.
Yeah, it did. It had a feeling it was going to go that way, though.
Actually, Vlad, I'd agree with you. If they were going to do a far more physical Robert McCall and they hadn't got Denzel Washington to agree to do it, the man who took James Bond back to physical action, which would be Timothy Dalton, would have been a fantastic Robert McCall.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's his face.
Have you ever seen?
Has
he
man,
has a. Come on.
Timothy Dalton has a menacing expression.
Yes, he does.
And
then watch it.
Denzel don't, and I like my dangerous characters to be unassuming.
I would say go back and rewatch Hot Fuzz, because it was obvious that Timothy Dalton was chewing the scenery and having an absolute blast playing a horrible villain. But in the beginning,
that movie is just a great
he's
movie.
disarming.
Yeah.
He's disarming in the beginning.
And of course, who else is in Hot Fuzz?
Oh yeah, Edward Woodward. It was his
Edward
last
Woodward
film.
was in Hot Fuzz. It was one of his last movies, I think.
It was his last film.
Yeah.
Okay.
So let's see. Another actor that, if they had done it at the time, 2014, that I think would have been good is what's his name? Isaacson. Jason Isaacson would have been.
It's just Isaacs, isn't it? Jason Isaacs.
Isaac? I
It's
can't
just
remember.
Isaacs.
I can't stand him as a person, but I love him as an actor.
You ever see him in The Death of Stalin? Have you seen that?
Yes.
Yes. He's the army. He's the army guy. I can't remember.
Yes.
You don't get my fucking soldiers. He doesn't give a shit what the others think.
Yeah,
Guys,
I got to say,
army.
I watched that movie with Mrs. Redshirt, and she sat there stunned through the entire thing without absolutely no idea what was going on. And I said, "This is Monty Python meets the History Channel."
Yeah. Well,
Nice.
Yeah, it's one of the funniest things I've ever seen.
That's
How long are we going to
that
let
is
the
a
poll
dark
go, Gary?
humor.
And I'm surprised they did it and got away with it, because you know how lefty the establishment is in Britain. For this film to be made was it was quite the eye opener.
Oh yeah,
but yeah, Armando Iannucci was the writer and producer and director. He's brilliant. He did a lot of great comedy shows in Britain. Very unknown guy, but he's been behind a lot of great stuff. But he savaged the Soviets, and that absolutely savaged them.
Oh yeah. Another one, Sean Bean would have probably been good to play this character too.
Possibly, but he would have died.
Yeah,
but he would have died 20 minutes in. So what's the point?
Yeah,
you beat me to it, Brian. Or he would have died in the first movie. There wouldn't have been a sequel.
Yeah.
Oh, come on! He hasn't died in Sharp yet. How many movies?
That's
How
true.
many movies?
Sharp's the only thing he survives in.
Now, here's an actor that I think is still in the right age range, is Tubby Stephens. What do you think?
Oh yeah, no, you see,
Yeah.
I like him.
I like him. Yeah,
I'm a big fan of his. He's the reason I watched the new Lost in Space series.
Yeah, I only watched it for him, really.
You know, he was cast, and they did shoot his scene of the transformation as the new Doctor, and then he was unceremoniously removed. Just removed. He wasn't fired.
It's such a shame.
Removed, and they went the direction they went. He was supposed to be our new Doctor.
He would have been great. Yeah, he's very good.
Wolby says Aidan Turner.
The funny,
I'm not.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
The thing about
maybe,
Stevens is that Stevens played a Bond villain. He could easily have played a Bond as well on the right.
Yes, he did. He was in the Korean one.
Gustav. He was Gustav somebody. Gustav
Chinatsky.
Gustav Graves. Yeah.
Graves. That's it. Yeah. No, Die Another Day. I think Die Another Day. The Madonna one.
Yeah.
Sorry, I have to
can't
split
believe
when
they
I
put
say
her in it.
Madonna. But he could have easily been a Bond as well, I think, in the right timeline, you know?
And Sean Bean could have been one.
He could be, he's a has-been. He's the only
Sean
man that
Bean-
could. Sean Bean's so good he died twice in one Bond movie.
I know, right? People don't know what we're talking about. In GoldenEye, he fakes his death at the beginning,
Yeah. He
dies,
dies twice.
and then we find out he's not dead, and he gets to die again at the end as
Yeah.
the villain. Which is, by the way, I love the knife fight. It's quick and nasty.
So, what did you think of Toby Stevens in 13 Hours? I mean, he wasn't in it for long, but he was
who did he play?
he was Glenn Doherty. He's the one that arrives
Oh.
to help and then gets unfortunately
Get killed.
Yeah,
Yeah. He
I
dies.
was. He's great in those little roles like that. You
They
know?
missed because they did that wrong. You know that I'm friends with the sniper in real life from there.
Yes, I know. I know.
And just a great dude, man. And he explained that the timing was wrong on what they were showing in the film.
Mm.
And he says, I know they did it for dramatic purposes, but it was incorrect. That what happened with him happened differently than what they show in the movie. But it's still, he died. And it's a rough film. He says the scene, though, that he, because he actually got to play Call of Duty when they had the same scene where they've got people coming across Zombieland. And that's what they called it, Zombieland. That area where the abandoned bus and everything is, and they're coming in the dark and working their ways towards them. And he says, you're up on the roof with a sniper rifle and you got to take these guys out. He says, I got to play that, and it was like reliving it, but more fun.
Yeah.
Man. God, I wouldn't hate this guy if he hadn't betrayed Gina the way he did.
Yeah.
And went woke. Because I liked him when he was in Game of Thrones. I was like, that was a really good death scene. Fuck. Great fight scene. Guy's got potential.
The other problem with him now is he's overexposed.
Yeah.
He's just too much of him.
I was like hoping that he would just quit Mando, but they ended up destroying it third season anyway, so it doesn't matter. And I don't think there's any hope for it with the movie. I'm like, no. If you've got fucking Dave Filoni involved, I'm out.
Yeah.
Now going into the scene of the movie, does McCall already suspect him here? Because it's almost like
I think so.
I think
I personally think so. Yeah. My interpretation of some of his behavior here is this is a gathering intelligence meeting. This is not a beloved friend he's saying hi to. There's a reason why he came out of the shadows to run into him, because he thinks it's
look
suspicious.
At the look. Just look right.
The way he's looking at him right now. Dead
exactly
eyes.
The way he's looking at him right now. That is not. I'm looking at an old friend. Yeah. There's a subtext going on here that's not in the conversation.
Yeah, I use that also, like in Vindicated. There's a moment in there where the photograph is taken of one of the bad guys and that they think's a good guy. They're like, "Oh, he's a good guy. We like him." I said, see this right here where he's looking at me? Yeah, he's smiling, right? Cover his mouth. I say, I want to fucking murder you. Smiles, removes the paper, wants to fucking murder you. The eyes don't lie.
Yeah.
And it's something you'll see with sociopaths in particular, because they smile with their mouth, not with their eyes.
The eyes are a window in. The eyes are a window into the back door of the soul.
Right. I've actually been told. Because I'm not a particularly sociable person, and if I'm out in public and I get somebody who strikes me the wrong way, if I'm in a bar or a restaurant, I was told once by a friend that I have capital letters, the look. And I said, what do you mean the look? He says, you smile slightly at someone, but your eyes don't. He said, think of Clint Eastwood smiling at a bad guy in a Clint Eastwood Western. That's you. And I said,
It's
well, what does that mean? He says, anybody who's a predator takes one look at you and goes, I'm going somewhere else.
Here's an example
I
of the
didn't know
fake
I
smile.
could do it, but apparently I can.
You ready, guys? Oh, I can do it too.
I've got the look. Yeah. Oh, you do.
She's
I
got
saw
the
your
look.
Twitter. I saw your tweet about it. I've just heard a load of bull fertilizer.
Because
You're
I will
right.
smile. I will smile at people, but I'm not smiling with my eyes. It's just I'm being polite, and I'm more annoyed with them than anything.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what, if you're in a southern bar and somebody does that to you, it's time to find somewhere else to have a drink.
Yeah, go away. Go away.
Yep. Go away.
Move along.
These are not the droids you're looking for.
I remember when I was a paramedic, there was another guy from the Army Rangers that was fucking around with me one day. And he was doing something that was not appropriate. It was pissing me off. But I kept smiling. But I was only smiling with my mouth. And my partner said, dude, you better stop. Because he's only smiling with his mouth. He wants to fucking kill you right now. And he turned and looked at me and he saw my eyes and he went, oh, shit, I'm sorry, dude. I was just fucking around. I went, yeah, you're fucking into an area you don't need to be in. And he just dropped it right then and there. I won't tell you what it was. It's just, there's some things you just don't fuck around with a guy. You just don't. You don't talk about their family and you don't talk about their wives. You don't talk about their kids. Don't make jokes about them.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Nope.
And he does the dead eye stare really well.
Oh, yes, he does. Actually, that was
Some
one of the
people would
things
call it the 1,000-yard stare.
Yeah, that's what I loved about the scene that Matthew Marsden and God, I can't remember the Scottish actor's name in Rambo 4, where Rambo to them is they're the mercenaries and Rambo's just the boatman. And Graham McTavish is his name, the actor, Scottish actor, is baiting John Rambo. And the other actor, Matthew Marsden, who played, they called him Schoolboy, he's the sniper of the team, is trying to tell Rambo, he's, it's just this dick measuring contest that the SAS like to do. And he says, I'm SBS, so I don't really care about him. But he at one point, exactly as you just said, he's giving Rambo a hard stare. Rambo hasn't changed expression in 5 minutes in the scene. There's absolutely no change. And he says, you could drop the 1,000-yard stare. Brian could do the accent better than I can.
1,000-yard
and Rambo
stare.
still doesn't change. He's just dead-faced and just like, just try. You could just hear inside the voice inside his monologue is saying, try me.
Yeah, and I like Graham McTavish in that. He was really good in the film.
Yeah, he's excellent.
He's a good actor.
He really is.
Because he's an asshole in the film.
Oh,
and he nails it.
Oh, wow.
But in the end, when he gets his moment, because he ends up dying, as I recall.
Did
he survive?
No, but he winds up with prostheses for the rest of his life, I suspect. Yeah. But he finally has a change of heart towards Rambo, that's for sure. But yes, he was great in that. And by the way, if you've never seen the television series Men in Kilts, Graham McTavish and one of his partners from I didn't watch it. Mrs. Redshirt did.
I have tried to watch that show. I have it bookmarked.
Oh, God! Okay, it's just funny. I mean, basically, it's Graham McTavish being abused for 2 seasons of television. It's hysterically funny as they tour around Scotland. And I mean, if you're into travelogues, or if you ever liked Michael Palin's travelogues, this one is just a hoot the whole time because Graham McTavish is the butt of almost every joke until the end of the first series, which is great. So yeah, it's a lot of fun.
It is pretty good, yeah.
Yes. And you get to see a lot of Scotland without having to spend $12,000 to fly there.
Well, indeed. I think even once, for one episode, the sun actually came out once. It wasn't raining in every episode.
I don't know. I can't say from personal experience, but somebody once told me that in one day in Scotland, you can experience all 4 seasons. So I figure the sun has to come out for at least 5 minutes, and you make you think it's summer.
If you don't like the weather, wait 20 minutes.
Oh,
That's Missouri.
New England. If I'm from New England, if you don't like the weather, wait 5 minutes. It'll change. But yeah,
Indeed.
that's a fun show. That's a fun television show if you can track it down on a streaming service.
I think it's on Stars, which you have to subscribe to, but I'm sure. I mean, it could be.
I mean, yeah, most of them you do, but
maybe you can find it on YouTube.
Yeah. Or
there was a travelogue series that I used to watch. That's a comedy with what is his name? Steve Coogan.
Oh yes.
Oh yeah. No, you see, he worked with Armando Iannucci a lot.
Was it any good? Because I was tempted to watch.
Brian was saying something. Hold on.
No, it's okay. No, I was just saying Steve Coogan has worked a lot with Armando Iannucci, who did this Death of Stalin. He's been the Alan Partridge stuff. He was involved with Armando.
I love the Alan Partridge series.
Yeah, but the trip stuff, the Rob Brydon.
Rob Brydon is so fucking funny.
I even have a little bit of a audio clip.
I say Michael Caine used to talk like this in the 1960s, right? But that has changed. And I say that over the years, Michael's voice has come down several octaves. Let me finish. And all of the cigars.
So that's Rob Brydon doing Michael Caine, because most of the trip is him and Steve Coogan trying to outdo each other on imitations of Roger Moore, Michael Caine, and Sean Connery.
It is so fucking funny, and they did 3 movies, and but my favorite moment was when they were doing the honor thing for Michael Caine, inducting him into the Hall of Fame or whatever it was they were doing, and they had those two up in the balcony, Mike, and they're doing it. They're arguing, and unbeknownst to the audience, the guy behind them with the not a magazine, but the what do you call it when you're program? He's got the program open in front of him. Is fucking Michael Caine sitting behind him, and he yells at him.
It's hilarious. Yeah,
it's fucking funny.
Steve Coogan's funny, and him and Rob Brydon together are just dynamite.
Well, you know, my favorite show with him is Would I Lie to You?
Yes. Oh,
because he took over after 2 seasons. The dude that ran the show got into trouble because he said something that got him Me Too'd or some shit.
Yeah.
And so Brydon took over the show. But I got to tell you, I think he upped the ante on the show. I think he's funnier.
I would say so. I mean, Rob Brydon is a very, very funny guy. Very undernoted. He's not known a lot over here, but extremely funny. He's little man in a box. The little man in a box thing he does.
Oh my god, when he does that, it's so fucking funny.
It's a Roman tomb or something, and he's.
I've only seen him be the star in a reasonably priced car on Top Gear twice.
Oh yeah,
but they showed a clip from the television series he was making at the time where he was a chauffeur, and he's doing a piece to camera as though he were in a Top Gear car driving around the track, and he's a chauffeur, and he says, I'm prepared if a terrorist attacks. I have a machete underneath the driver's seat. So if I check the mirror, check, terrorists attacking, reach down, come up, I have my machete ready. And it's just so matter of fact, as though he takes himself seriously. I was laughing hysterically, as was the audience on the show, Top Gear, because he's a very subtle comedian. And that's part of, I think, why Americans wouldn't get most of his humor, because he's very, very dry, very subtle.
Yeah,
dry humor and subtle humor is hard for most Americans. But I grew up on that.
That's why most Americans prefer Benny Hill to Monty Python, because they just think Monty Python is stupid and silly.
Don't get me wrong, I enjoyed Benny Hill, but
I
would rather watch Monty Python any day of the damn week. But this scene, I want to get us back into this, because I mean we get together and we start talking about this nerd shit that we love. To bringing it back to this moment here, because this is one of my favorite moments in the film, because he uses the car to beat the fucking shit out of this guy.
Yeah.
He beats the shit out of him with the car.
Just by swerving.
Zanima asked me, why doesn't he just stop? I'm like, because he's using the car to beat the shit out of this guy. And it does. It succeeds at knocking the shit out of him. He gets fucked up. And then he hits the brakes one last time after he does a spin. The guy flies in front of him and he takes the gun and he shoots him in the fucking under the jaw. And it's like, that was a cool action scene. But he knew something was wrong immediately, which is why he keyed in on asking the guy, like, how old's your kid? 5? The guy won't stop eye lock. The guy's eye fucking the shit out of him right now.
Well, he also stopped going towards the airport, going another direction, and the guy didn't see anything.
Yeah, he's
so
going
he
the
knew
opposite
the guy's
direction.
not going to the airport. What I was going to say earlier, the poll is still going. Maybe we should have a look at that. Because it's been a
I
while.
think we stopped caring. No help.
It's not like Gary to turn down the chance to go up the pole.
That is endearing to the audience.
I
So,
gotta get a
yeah,
soundboard.
we're at 81% Equalizer, 6% Equalizer 2, 12% Equalizer 3. So it's clear. Equalizer 1 is agreed
I think
upon
that's
by
a fair
most people.
balance. Yeah.
I think so. So I ended the poll so you guys can now see it in the chat. Oh my God, Shinatsky, shut up.
Yeah, nice. That's good. Very nice. That's good. I like that.
I look up and that's what I see on my screen. I'm like, oh, fucking Shinatsky. God, you're so punny today. You and Brian.
Yeah, can't help it.
Actually,
Sorry.
actually, Shinatsky, that sounds like Ricky Gervais's show, An Idiot Abroad.
I love that show.
Oh, that is such cringe humor. I couldn't watch it.
Are you kidding? That guy is so fucking weird.
Oh, I
What
was
is his
always
name?
rooting. I was always rooting for Carl
Oh God,
because
yeah.
I'm
What is
just
his
as
last name?
uncomfortable. Carl's
He's got a weird
name?
last name.
Yeah, Pink something. Pinkerton or Pinkleton or something like that.
Something like that. It's
I
such
don't
a
remember. It is,
ridiculous
but I
last
mean,
name.
they always put him in such a situation that'll just simply make him uncomfortable, and then they can sit and laugh watching the video feed of him.
That's
And
what
I
they're
was
doing.
like,
They're just enjoying Pinkleton.
exactly.
Pinkerton.
I want to watch. I want to put him in, make him uncomfortable, and then we're going to see the raw video feed of the dailies, and we're going to laugh our asses off back here in London, while he's riding a wave rider around a muddy lake in Cambodia, towed by 2 water buffalo, and I'm like, oh my God, I would be going
why
back
would
to
he
London and
agree
looking.
to do this, knowing that
I
they're just
know.
going to torture him?
I hope he made a lot of money to play that role in that film, in those films,
Ditto.
because oh my goodness, not even Michael Palin's travelogues were as painful to watch. Wait a minute, I'll find it. I'll get my Google foo on.
But yeah, it's a nice way to let your opponent know that you're onto him.
Yeah. Beat him to death with a car. Carl Pilkington.
Pilkington, that's right. Yeah.
Yes.
That's it. God, I love that guy. He's so annoying because they would do
Yes,
the
he
podcast.
is.
And then they started animating the podcasts. And that was one of my favorite things in the world, was the animated. Did you ever watch the animated show?
No, I haven't.
Oh my God.
I've got to
Look
find
for
it. I've got to find it now.
The animated series of them doing the podcast, and they would get him riled up somehow. It was so fucking funny. The two of them just fucking with him all the time. Sandra Hammerslag, welcome to the show again, my friend. Good to see you.
Hello, Center. And it's 1M, as he reminded me once, when my phone kept trying to correct my spelling.
Yeah, putting 2 M's in.
Yes. It still tells me I misspelled his name when I spell it right.
Now, this is the scene where this is in the house. where I have that clip from with he's at the back door for 5 minutes. And absolutely, now at this point, even though you and I said it before, it was obvious he was onto him from the beginning.
Yep.
Because he was the last person with her.
Yeah, the game's afoot. It's just a dance at this point.
Yes.
But it's here at the house where he makes it clear, and then I forget the actor's name. I can't think of his name, but he also makes it clear that he's been preparing to kill him, Denzel.
Yeah.
And so they both put their cards on the table in this scene. And I know you're a bad guy, and I know you're the guy that's going to have to die because you're going to, prevent me from doing what I need to do. Pedro Pascal, yeah, I can't fucking hate that guy.
Yeah, he's just way overexposed.
And overrated as an actor, if you ask me.
Yeah, which the overexposure just shows, of course, when you watch him.
Yeah, I think he's just ready to retire. He's set out and done, or I should say, he has done everything he has set out to do. And he just has hit a point in his life where he just wants to be a family man.
Just wants to enjoy what he's got, yeah.
Yeah, it's 70s, man. And it's good to see you, Cal. Thanks for dropping in, buddy. And fucking Denzel outwits him again. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'll take a ride from you. Yeah. Going into town, can I go with you? Yeah. Hey, look at that. See, I'm going in with your family. What are you going to do about that?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, he's just fucking.
He goes, I have one regret.
I just can
only
kill
get to kill you once.
Great line.
And he does it with a fucking smile on his face. He sounds so friendly when he says it, too. You killed my friend.
Denzel is just epic here. He's got that absolute certainty, the way he acts this part. His character, McCall, is an absolute certainty. There's no grey area. He's resolute.
Oh my God. Denzel as Blackula.
Well, 70s, that's another thing that the series... That's another thing the series has in common with the television show, because Robert McCall, played by, played in the 80s, was absolutely certain. You didn't know how he knew, but he knew.
Yeah.
And it was never any doubt in his mind.
That's right. And there's no moral ambiguity in the way the character is portrayed.
Exactly. So you had to trust the character, because in the TV show, and even here sometimes in the movies with Denzel Washington, you don't get to see everything that leads him to add up he doesn't do a Sherlock Holmes laying all of the evidence out for Dr. Watson so that the audience knows how he knows. He just knows. And like the television series, when the climax comes, he's an avenging angel, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
He knows. It's like who knows what evil lurks in the hearts of men. The Shadow from the old radio program. Robert McCall was almost like a television version of the Shadow. And I haven't listened to the Shadow. My father did, so I can't vouch for comparison. But yeah, he's simply absolutely certain, and that's one of the things that makes these movies work, because you never have any doubt that Denzel Washington as the Equalizer is doing the right thing.
All these comments about Blackula.
I know.
Well, you know, by the
Make
way,
me-
the reason
No.
I don't like Eddie Murphy's movie A Vampire in Brooklyn is because all that was to me was just Blackula again.
What I was going to is we should do Carbon Copy.
Oh, that's Denzel's first movie. Yeah.
Yep,
With,
it was a
George Segal.
comedy, and it
Yeah.
was awesome.
He's his son. He plays George Segal's son. And George Segal's
Oh,
like,
that's right. Yeah, I'd forgotten
how
about
are you,
that.
my son? How are you, my son? It's like, it was a good film. It's a good film.
God, that's a while ago now. Jeez, now you think about it.
Well, I
Incredible.
brought it up the other day with Martin. We were talking about it, and I agree. We need to watch that because that's a forgotten film.
I'd forgotten it until you just mentioned it.
I like the movie Fallen. Dark ending, though.
Yeah.
I don't remember that one.
Denzel Washington is a cop. He's investigating something that leads to the occult and demonic possession. John Goodman's in it. It's actually a pretty good film.
Yeah.
But it has a very dark ending. Evil kind of wins.
Is on my side. I always think of that movie now when I hear that song.
Yep.
When you're talking about other Denzel performances, and I just thought of this, and this is off the top of my head, but the longer we go through the three movies that we have so far for the Denzel Washington as the Equalizer, the more they start to remind me of his movie Man on Fire.
That
Well-
is one of my favorite films of his.
Yeah.
I see this version of McCall like in reality he is greedy. He survived Man on Fire, got married, his wife died, and now he's doing this.
Other
It's
people have
interest-
said that too.
I could say
Interesting that he
I could
works.
see that.
He likes to work with the same directors a lot, like Tony
Yeah,
Scott and Antoine Fuqua.
Tony Scott, Anton Fuqua. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Trusted them.
He's worked with Ridley several times.
He has. That's true. Yeah. American Gangster, wasn't that Ridley?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and when he shoots Idris Elba's character in the movie, walks up to him about the money.
Yeah.
What are you gonna do? Shoot me in public? And he
Yeah.
fucking turns his head into a canoe right there in front of everybody, and then walks back to the restaurant. And everybody's like, fuck.
I mean, if you think about it, Denzel's movie career has been magnificent. One of the best of the modern era, undoubtedly. If case to be made, it's the best. It's
Absolutely.
Yeah, I'm looking through like a bunch of his films right now. Let's just do it. The Equalizer films. I'm not a fan of Training Day. Not like you love it.
I do love Training
I had
Day.
some problems with the logic of what they do. Man on Fire, absolutely one of my favorite films ever made. Flight is a really good film. American
Yes.
Gangster, really good film. Let's see. I don't think I even saw The Little Things.
It was
Book of
okay.
Eli.
I did.
The Book of
Yeah.
Eli is amazing.
Safe House. I love Safe House.
Yes,
It's a
with Ryan
kick-ass
Reynolds.
action movie. Yeah, kick-ass movie.
Malcolm
Wasn't-
X, Remember the Titans is a great film, but it bugged me because that's where I grew up, where that took place. And
Come
in
on,
fact,
you never grew
that
up.
that team was one of them that we played against, and it wasn't like that
Hmm.
at all. Fences. Oh my God, if you've never seen
Yeah.
that movie.
Oh, hey.
Safe House, Deja Vu, Magnificent Seven. I liked that movie. I liked the remake.
Yeah,
I
so
actually
did I.
enjoyed it. Inside Man was okay. Bone Collector. I fucking love that movie.
Yeah.
Where he's paralyzed. He's a quadriplegic. John Q, another great film. Two Guns was fun.
It's
I don't
funny. I
think it's
just
a great
made a
film.
short about Two Guns earlier today.
It's a fun movie.
Because it's now in pole position in my physical media collection. It's because I put my numbers before the alphabetical. So Two Guns is at the first place in my physical media. It's the first one in the shelf.
Unstoppable is a good film.
Oh yeah.
I
Glory.
love that.
I saw that when I was in the army, and I just that movie.
You can go back to the old stuff. I mean, Ricochet and Virtuosity, thrillers like that. They're pretty.
Well, I'm going to go through a
fun.
whole list. I'm going through the whole list, and you guys jump in.
Glory, I was gonna.
great movie.
I want to jump in on that one. Glory. I mean, yes, that's very much an ensemble film. He's
it's a
not
true
the main
story.
character, but he plays a wonderful character in Glory. And it just proves that Denzel didn't have to be the star.
That grew up as a slave, you know.
Yep.
Fallen I enjoyed that movie. Out of Time was okay. I did not like The Tragedy of Macbeth. I didn't think it was that good a film.
Oh, he's a great Scotsman. Come on, give us a break. Crimson Tide.
Almost as good as Sean Connery as the Spaniard.
Yeah, right. I liked He Got Game, but I didn't think it was one of his better films. The Hurricane.
That's not bad.
Is a great film. The Great Debaters is a good film, but not one of my favorites. Philadelphia, outstanding movie. Crimson Tide.
Crimson Tide is fucking awesome.
That one. Oh my God.
What a movie. Roman J. Israel Esquire it's a good film. It had a statement. It had a point. So it's a poignant film. I actually like the remake of Taking of Pelham 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, it's not bad.
Yeah.
The Pelican Brief is a good film. The Devil in a Blue Dress is a good film. The Manchurian Candidate was a flop. He's good in it. He's good in it, but it's not a good film.
He's good in it. It was a waste of talent. The whole casting of that movie.
Yeah. Well, it shouldn't have been made. Mississippi Masala is a good film, not a great film. It's a good film. Ricochet is one of those films that is a guilty pleasure. I don't think it's a very good film, but I fucking enjoy it. And The Sea. This is before 9/11, man. The Sea.
Yeah.
Good film. Courage Under Fire. I liked him in that film.
Yeah, very good movie.
Antoine Fisher, another good film. I did not like Much Ado About Nothing. I felt that it was a lazy production by Kenneth Branagh. That he got together with friends to make a movie. It's like, great, that's nice, but I didn't think it was as good as any other production I've ever seen. The Preacher's Wife is a touching film, remake of a classic film. Virtuosity, I like more than anybody else did.
I love it. I love
that movie
with a passion.
It's one of the 3 Peter Gabriel films that he made that ends with a Peter Gabriel song. And first one being about Biko. What was that called?
It was called
Cry Freedom.
Cry Freedom, yeah.
Cry Freedom. Cry Freedom, Virtuosity, and Bone Collector are films that end with Peter Gabriel songs.
Yeah, and it's not the movie's fault it has to finish on such a bum note, you know.
I did not enjoy Mo Better Blues. I wanted to, I just didn't. A Soldier Story, very good film. Cry Freedom, great film. Carbon Copy, very fun film.
You remember Ricochet?
Yeah, I brought up Ricochet.
Yeah, I quite like that.
I enjoyed the shit out of that film. It's not a very good film, but it's
John
a fun
Lithgow
film.
being a villain again, I think.
It's the villain. It's the third time he got to play a villain.
I know, he was so good at it.
Raising Cain, Ricochet, and his first major film, which is called Blowout.
He was a villain, wasn't he? A villain in Cliffhanger as well. The Stallone.
Cliffhanger.
Oh shit! I forgot about that movie.
Yeah,
You're
Lithgow
right.
was a villain in that too. Yeah.
He was also a villain in another Brian De Palma movie, Obsession.
Oh yeah,
I've never seen it.
It's been many years since I've seen it too, but I remember it kind of vaguely.
Denzel's library is incredible.
Yeah, there's a film I missed here, and I'm trying to see if I can find it.
Whoops! There go my bloomers.
Oh, I remember now. It was The Mighty Quinn.
Oh,
I
yeah,
enjoyed that movie.
Yeah.
Oh
The
yeah,
Mighty Quinn is
that
a
was a
fun
good
movie.
one. Yeah, I forgot about
Yeah.
that as well.
That was an off-the-wall film. Didn't get a big major release. It was minor release theatrically. Went kind of straight to video. I rented that one day, and I'm like, I like the name.
Emmett Walsh.
I like the name.
Emmett
Got
Walsh.
Denzel in it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna watch this. And I watched it. I'm like,
Cool.
fuck, that was a fun movie.
Nice. Good call.
Yeah, Denzel
Unfortunately,
is
though,
absolutely one of my top 10 favorite actors of all time.
oh, he's brilliant.
We're gonna say
Legend. No, unfortunately, I do have to drop out. I'm afraid. I believe I'm being told I have domestic commitments. I'm being signaled.
someone needs to go sex up the old lady.
Those
Domestic
dishes won't
commitment.
wash themselves.
That's right. Yes. But it's been fun, everybody. It's been a lot of fun. So enjoy the rest of the stream, and I will see you guys very soon, I hope.
Oh, you bet, buddy. I'll see you later, man.
Oh,
Good
yes.
seeing you.
All right. Take care,
Take care.
everybody. Cheers.
Cheers, mate.
Well, thank you for that, Gary, because now the next time that Mrs. Redshirt and I are arguing over what movie to watch and we can't agree, I'm just going to go down and Denzel Washington's IMDb movie history and pick one with her, because I suspect that that'll solve that problem in a hurry.
And by the way, I want to point out something really cool about it. The third film, that is the film that reunited him with Dakota Fanning, who was the girl he was protecting in Man on Fire. So it's kind of cool to see them together again. And now
You
she's
see,
grown up.
this is the continuation of Man on Fire. I'm telling you.
Yeah, and The Prisoner was the sequel to Danger Man. I've heard it.
He is exactly 10 years older than me. And he turned 70 in December, or does he turn 70 in December? He turned 70 in December. He's 69. So he'll be 70 this coming December.
That's a
And
good
so
year.
he's kind of wanting to slow it the fuck down and go live his life. And I think that's kind of wonderful. Now, I love this scene. And by the way, the CG work in this is really good because this is on location and they turned this place into a hurricane town. Very well done. I was very pleased with the effects on this.
However, when he fills the bakery with flour to create a fire explosion, the guy that triggers the explosion gets back flying and falls on his back. The moment he falls, you can see that the stunt person has a rubber mask to look like the actor. And when he hits the ground, the rubber mask got all deformed.
Okay, well, I didn't even notice that. So awesome. Yeah. Out of Time. That's another one, Sandra. Thanks for bringing that one up. Oh, yeah, Wolverine absolutely was a villain in that, but I was talking cinematic. But yeah, he plays a serial killer with a family. Hiding among the sheep. My favorite moment here is when he gets knocked backward and he hits his head on the rail. That was that's a gnarly hit, man. You're gonna have trouble getting up from that. And I love this scene. I really do. And I like the way that Denzel's character, McCall, is working his way like through a maze to get to him.
Well, it is town. He knows it well.
Knows it better than this motherfucker. The guy did the smart thing by going to the highest point, but he's up against the guy that knows the location.
All right.
Oh,
Star
and also
Wars-
there's a great one that Anima loved too. Is he threatens to shoot the kid in the trunk, And right as he's about to take the shot, McCall shoots the tire, dropping the car. So
That
his
was
round goes through the
brilliant.
window. I'm like, fuck, that was good.
Yeah. This whole showdown is so good. And the last kill is so fucking brutal. And he had it coming.
What he does to him, it just, I mean, he cuts the shit out of the guy, cutting muscle and tendons. And the guy goes down, and then he stabs him right in the same spot that he stabbed his friend, which technically is the coup de grace. But McCall, for some reason, he's decent. Instead of making him suffer, he kills him instantly. And a lot of people may not have caught what he does. He's got the,
the legionary
fanged
kill
knife. He comes across the back of the neck and cuts through his spine, killing him.
That's
almost
what they do. That's what they do. The Romans.
You said what killed him was the fall on the rocks.
The thing is, though, here I'm about to fucking explain it, because here's what happens. Even though he does that, he lets him fall, and that brain isn't dead yet. So the brain is aware he's falling. He has no control. And he falls to his death, and then he is absolutely dead.
When he hits the rocks, yeah.
When he hits the rocks. It's just, god damn, man. He fucking cuts him up, stabs him with it's a deadly stab. He kills him. Because that guy is going to fucking bleed into his lung now. And he's technically dead, and he's looking at him. He's looking at him, and you see his reflection in his eyeball, and then he fucking cuts the back of his neck, technically severing his spine. So now he's paralyzed, but his brain's still functioning for as long as oxygen is being fed to it. Because that's not what he cut. He cut the nerves, the spine, and then lets him fall. So he could feel that last moment. And it's fucking dark what he does here. Look at those eyes. Fuck,
yeah.
Man. His eyes are dead. And he's looking at him, and he wants him to see his eyes. It's a shared moment. And then he drops into that fucking rock.
From all the other people that he kills. This is personal. He's taking
It's
revenge
very personal
on his friend. So that's why he goes so dark.
Yeah, this is what the Behavioral Sciences Unit, as it was originally called at the FBI, called overkill.
Yep.
Well, it goes back to my point that I said during the first movie when we discussed it. He is very much when he goes into what I consider God mode. When he goes into God mode, he becomes like this Michael Myers. He is unstoppable. I considered the third film a horror film.
Well, I consider the first film a fucking horror film. He is Jason Voorhees and Michael Myers, all rolled into one.
He even does that. He even does that head tilt that Michael Myers does. He does that in the first movie. He just goes, oh, look at that. Yeah.
I could have taken a weapon and just wiped you guys out, but I wanted to kill you with farm implements and hardware tools. It's just like, what the fuck? And he does the same thing in this film too, if you notice it. Several times the way he kills people are fucked up ways to kill them.
Yeah, the scene of the first film with the Russians reminded me directly of John Wick. Baba Yaga, the boogeyman.
Oh yeah, Baba Yaga.
I mean, it don't like Michael Myers. He's your worst nightmare. If you get on his wrong side, this guy is your worst nightmare because he will find you.
The kill.
And that's also the famous.
Most. I want to point this out, Brad.
Yep.
In the first film, when the guy is walking along with his weapon looking for him, and something hits him from above, and he realizes it's blood, and he looks up and he sees the guy hanging there. The minute he tilts up, on the other side of an aisle looking at him, waiting for him to look up, he's there with fucking limb cutters. It just fucking jabs him, absolutely Jason Voorhees style.
Yep.
Right through the fucking neck. And I'm telling you, dude, I would love to do a supercut of his kills and just put a mask on him of some kind digitally.
Yep.
And start playing the dee-doo-doo-dee-dee-dee, or the other music from horror films. Because good
Right.
God, he's a fucking psycho killer.
Yep. But that was what he was. I mean, okay, one more connection to the TV series. I think one of the reasons they were able to justify not showing you all of the things that Robert McCall would do to someone was that he was atoning for what he'd done in his career.
And that's kind of what, even in the films, he's atoning for stuff
Yes.
from his past.
Exactly.
He is a haunted man.
Yeah, exactly.
I love this ending because the kid's got his life. He's going to school, going to be an artist. And this lady comes back to find her garden has been resuscitated. And this kid has done beautiful artwork, murals on the wall to celebrate her garden and her.
Mm-hmm.
And it's such a touching ending.
It is. And
Look
that's
at
a
that.
really good painting.
And he even put her.
Yeah.
She's
And
in the
of
painting.
course,
yeah.
And smiling.
And
yeah.
Right. And of course, the other subplot with Orson Bean is he not only finds the painting, he finds the sister.
Yes.
Yeah.
That he thought was
reunites her.
dead. Yeah.
That got
Yeah, he
me
would
because
get- yeah.
I was waiting for the guy to bring in the picture, not
Me
the
too.
actual sister.
Me too. That was amazing.
Yeah, well, Shinatsky says it best. I've said this numerous times. I've tagged William Shatner on it. William Shatner may have been the greatest captain, but he's also the scariest motherfucking face in the history of horror.
Yep.
Because he is the Shape. He is Michael Myers' mask.
Yes, he is.
A lot of people don't know that that's the old William Shatner mask.
Yes.
From Don Poe
And I
Studios.
don't think I've ever seen him publicly talk about his reaction to them using a mask of his face.
He said in an interview a couple of years back that I read that he had heard about that, and he just didn't know what to make of it.
Well, I may be wrong, but I think I remember have seen a picture of old Shatner looking at that mask now, and of course he's smiling.
Well, I know they changed the mask shortly after, if not in the second movie, probably by the third. So I don't know whether there was a behind the scenes conversation, but yeah, it had to be pointed out to me when I watched the original movie. I was like, no, that was a face mask of William Shatner. They just enlarged the eye holes so that the actor could see out of it.
They enlarged the eye holes. They painted the mask white, and they fucking did the crazy shit to the hair.
Yep. And I watched it again, and after I'd heard that, I went, "I'll be damned. That is William Shatner's face. Holy cow!"
You can actually see his smile lines and nose.
Mm-hmm. Yep, it's a bit eerie once you've seen it, and once you've heard that and you see it, and that realization. If it didn't when you first saw it, when that realization hits, it's a bit eerie.
Also, you can recognize the lips when you look at it. That Shatner's mouth. He's got a pert mouth.
No, don't go there.
Here we go.
There you
And
are.
this is a really good new replica that's been done in the last few years. That this looks more like the original mask than because they screwed up the face in some of the subsequent Halloween movies with him. This is going back to looking like William Shatner. That's the other thing they did is they ripped the hair out here because there should be sideburns there,
Right.
and they're not there. It's a creepy ass fucking mask, dude.
Oh, it
William
is.
Shatner. William Shatner is scary as fuck. We talked about his show, one of his last TV shows. Shit My Dad Says. I thought that show was great. And I'm pissed that I know that it was basically hated by certain executives because it was politically incorrect.
Yep.
And because
That's
that they
what
didn't
made
want
it
to have
so
the
funny.
show. So the show ended. Yeah, because if you watch the show, live fucking audience, absolutely fucking dying laughing watching him say some of these things the things they were doing on the show. Well, if the show's
when
that
you-
fucking funny, how the
Yeah,
fuck
when
did
you-
it get canceled?
I don't know.
Because it offends
When you
certain
talk about
people.
when you talk about William Shatner being scary because his face was used as Jason's mask or in Halloween, whatever it was. Have you ever seen all of the sci-fi channel Haven?
Haven, what was that?
Some of it, yeah.
Yeah, that was based on very loosely based, I think, on a Stephen King story that they turned into a 6-part series.
Oh, I watched the pilot and I
Colorado
just
Kid,
couldn't
yeah.
get into it.
Yeah,
I couldn't get
well,
into it.
Okay. Well, if you stick with it, you find out that the arch villain that Audrey has been fighting without knowing who it is played by William Shatner, who plays her father. And William
Yeah, he-
Shatner comes across as a
Croatoan.
charming individual, except
plays
he's really the
Croatoan.
villain of the story.
Yeah, Croatoan.
Yes, he is the Croatoan. And in the couple in either the final episode or the last 2 episodes, he finally appears and he's being totally, he's being totally reasonable, and he's almost convinced her that she's been totally mistaken the whole time. 6 seasons of this show, and you've been watching it the whole time. And then she realizes, no, he's not being reasonable. He's just a con man. And Shatner he plays that, what you just said. He plays a reasonable and terrible. It's almost as though he were in Nightmare at 20,000 feet, playing both the man in the passenger in the airplane and the thing out on the wing. That's this
That is
character as the villain in Haven, and we have that. I really had to look for that because at least one of those seasons was becoming a collector's item, but. That's worth a look because there's some very good actors who didn't appear in a whole lot of things, and I think they did a very good job. I mean, in one way, I think it's probably one of the best adaptations of anything Stephen King's ever written put on screen, even if it's only loosely based.
I wish I could have gotten into it. It's one of the shows that if it doesn't grab me, I let go.
Right.
I'm like,
Well,
I
I know. I've said that, Gary. I've said that because I feel that way about most of Quentin Tarantino's early films. But I did have to stick with Haven. It has a very slow burn at the beginning. So, if you just want to watch it chronologically, you probably have to get through about 5 or 6 episodes before anything interesting happens. But one of the things I liked about it was, unlike most TV series, they gave it an ending. And it was a very satisfying ending for having stuck with that whole series through all of those episodes. And of course, they had bringing Shatner in to be the ambiguous villain was wonderful. And then they actually managed to wrap it up. And it was just, I didn't think they could pull it off, and they did. So, it's a really slow start. And I won't deny
there was
that.
that other series based on Stephen King stuff that was on Hulu. The season 1 was really good. Season 2, I actually enjoyed. It was showing the younger version of the character from Misery and how she became that character. It's a mystical series about this town and its connection to evil. It's related to it. I actually kind of enjoyed that series, despite being from J.J. Abrams. I enjoyed the show, but it just kind of fell flat towards the end, and they never brought it back. But I like a show that's going to be airing soon. Season 3 is the series From. Season 1 was really good. Season 2, iffy. I'm hoping they go back to what made the show so good in season 1. It got a little woke in season 2, and they introduced characters I thought were ridiculous. So, but The Devil's Reign in '75 is a good film. I remember that movie. Another film he did was the tarantula film. All the tarantulas. He ends up getting killed by the tarantulas. They better remind that something Spider Kingdom or some shit like that. Kingdom of the Spiders. Is that it?
Kingdom of Spiders, yes.
It was Kingdom. See if I can find it. No results. So that's not it. Yes, it is. How dare you tell me you found no results when it's right there? Fucking IMDb. A Living Crawling Hell on Earth. Kingdom of the Spiders. And good God.
Yeah,
Shatner plays
said that too. Fuck that.
in rural Arizona, countless killer tarantulas which are actually banana spiders. Farm town killing every living thing in their path. The town's veterinarian will do everything in his power to survive the onslaught. But he doesn't make it. He dies.
Well,
I spoiled the movie for you. If you haven't seen it, it's 40 fucking years old. What are you waiting for? Anyway.
You said they were banana spiders?
Well, the banana spider is the poisonous tarantula.
The banana spider is your best friend, because down here in Texas, if you have a couple of banana spiders making webs under your eaves, you don't have to worry as much about really nasty wasps because they eat them for a living. So I told my wife, I know you don't like spiders, but if you see one of those big green and yellow spiders hanging off the eaves of our house, leave it alone, because then we won't have to call the exterminator to have a red wasp nest taken out, because they eat the damn things for a living. So I'm like, more power to you. They're way over my head. I won't leave them alone. I'll leave them alone. They'll leave me alone. So
here it is.
They're terrifying looking though, because they're 5 inches across. I mean,
they're
holy
huge.
cow.
They're tarantulas. They're in the tarantula family.
But they're not fuzzy.
Guys down in South America, when they're picking bananas, have to watch out, because they'll nest inside of bananas, and they are notoriously aggressive down there. They will just bite the shit out of you, and their venom is a neurotoxin. And if they don't kill you, they'll fuck you up.
Yes. How many people die every year from these spiders?
Let me look it up real quick. How many banana pickers killed by spiders a year? There's 4,000 bites reported annually.
Wow.
And about 5.0 or 0.5% are so severe that they either die or are hospitalized. And it's also called the Brazilian wandering spider.
Yep. Well,
15 deaths have been attributed
if you're
to...
not picking... if you're not
they
picking
do
bananas, leave them alone.
Survive them. They do tend to survive them, but there have been 15 recorded deaths in South America since 1903 to the Brazilian wandering spider, aka banana spider.
You know, my grandma grew up in Brazil. She had stories about spiders. Horrible.
I think the most nightmarish story that I ever heard was that a lady that I knew when we were when I was a kid in Phoenix, had gone into the bathroom, and there was a nesting black widow under the seat, and it came up and bit her right on the taint.
Yikes!
And she got hospitalized. She survived, but when my mom was telling my dad what happened to this lady, and I'm listening, and I'm like, why are you telling this in front of me? Why are you telling? I would not sit on a fucking toilet without looking from that point forward. Till I
don't
hit
blame
adulthood.
you.
Now I don't give a shit. I'm like, if it wants to bite me, fuck it. I can at
Well,
least say something touched me down there.
all I can say is that we have water moccasins, timber rattlers, and copperheads here, along with black widows and the infamous brown recluse. Quite frankly,
That's Gary's best friend, recluse.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
this is we are recluse kingdom here in
Yeah,
Missouri, central southern
the
Missouri.
banana spiders are the least of my worries around here. I'm worried about a copperhead trying to climb up onto my John Deere when I'm mowing the pasture.
We have copperheads here, and I got to tell you, the most dangerous copperhead is juvenile copperheads. You got to watch out for.
Okay. I remember one day I was here in the office and Mrs. Redshirt was getting ready to do some gardening in October. And all of a sudden I heard blood curdling screams from the living room and kitchen. I ran out and she's having an absolute nervous breakdown. I said, "What's the matter?" She said, "I reached into the bag where my potting soil is to get my trowel out of it, and then I dumped the bag into the wheelbarrow, and it came out with a snake in it." And when we called the guy from the local college, who's the snake handler, he said, "Oh, what you got here is a young broad-banded copperhead. It's a good thing it didn't bite you. It can't control its venom yet." Exactly. It was about 18 inches long, and he had trouble picking it up with his tongs. And if he hadn't had a snap-on cover to his bucket, I would have told him, "You got to walk around the house. You're not bringing that thing through the living room."
Don't bring that thing through the house. Look, people. My favorite thing growing up in Virginia, my dad raised me in the woods. We would go camping, hunting, fishing all the time. I was always down at the river fishing, and you would hear somebody go, "Man, I ran into a copperhead." Like, really? What did it look like? Well, it had a gray head. And what was it? It was a copperhead. And what color was its head again? It was gray. There's a certain point you need to catch on to your fuck up here. Cottonmouths, people misidentify cottonmouths all the time. Usually it's a king snake or a rat snake.
Yep.
You know, cottonmouths are very clear. They have a white mouth. And the scariest moment I ever had in my life was in Florida. And my dad was leasing, not buying, but leased a house down there. And the family that was leasing it to us lived right next door. And we had alligators in the front yard because there's a swamp right across the street. And my dad was visiting the neighbor across the street. He had a mobile home over there. And I'm walking along the path going there, and he pokes his head out there and he says, "Hey, son, you need to watch out now. You see those big old inner tubes out there? See those?" "Yes, sir." "Those are cottonmouths, sonning. Stay the hell away from them." I went, "I'm going back home. Tell my dad I need him." True story. That's how that ended. I just walked the fuck back home. And then my dad, because I was miserable there, we went to the beach one time, and I didn't want to swim. I sat up near the shore trying to go after the what do you call them? Fiddler crabs. I love fiddler crabs. And Dad, "Come on out to the ocean." So I got out in the ocean, and I'm like splashing, and I actually literally said this. I went, "Wee, this is so much fun, Dad. Can I go back in now?" He goes, "Yeah, go back in." Because I didn't want to fucking be in the ocean. Fuck that. That's where fish shit and sharks eat. And so this place is just terrifying to me. Now, we lived on a saltwater canal in Jacksonville. It's Jacksonville, Florida. And there's a saltwater canal behind the house. And we had a pier. And we would fish off it. We'd either fish with lines or we'd fish with nets. And you'd end up getting jellyfish. And you couldn't see them. And I'm always barefoot because I was a poor kid. And I walk up there and they'd sting my fucking feet. I remember my brother Mike pissing on my feet all the fucking time, even though that doesn't really do anything. And but we believed that at the time. It'll make it stop hurting. See that? Stop hurting, buddy.
By the way, having put my arm through a moon jellyfish once as a kid and wrapped it all the way around my chest and shoulder, my grandmother put Adolph's meat tenderizer on it, and I'm telling you, that pissing on it is for a Portuguese man of war. Adolph's meat tenderizer pulled all of the poison right out of my skin. I don't know how the hell that works, but it worked.
That's crazy, dude. So we had sharks and crocs in the backyard. We had alligators in the front yard, and we had moccasins in the front yard. And Dad thought I wouldn't be miserable there. Plus, I had brothers that were fucking assholes. 2 brothers that told me that mayflies, or as we called them, gilly nabbers when we were kids, were nothing more than giant mosquitoes that could suck you dry in one night, Gary. So I would sleep in that miserable heat with a wool blanket head to toe, fully covered every night, because I was afraid of being killed by the I fucking hated Florida. And so my dad, trying to cheer me up, bought me a duck. And I was out there, and it just rained, because I liked ducks as a kid. And so he thought I'd like that.
That's a movie reference. Never mind.
So I put it, I walked it outside, put it in the, it rained, and we had this water in the gutter, and it was bathing and just having a good time. And what I didn't see was that there was a juvenile fucking alligator that came under the water line underneath the road, the drainage line, and swam up and grabbed my duck right in front of me. It was a juvenile, and it started death spiraling with my duck. Just feathers were going everywhere. And I'm screaming, as a small child would do. I'm screaming, and I heard a noise to my right. I turned to my right, and the son of the homeowner just got back from Vietnam, came running out, and he had a .22 rifle, ran up there, and he just emptied into this fucking alligator, killing it. But my duck didn't make it.
No. But I gotta say, with neighbors like that, and I'm not talking about the guy with the .22, Gary, you are officially a fugitive from the law of averages because you're still here.
I don't know how I survived my childhood. I got to be honest with you. There are so many moments I probably should have died that just I'd walked away going, "Hey, nothing happened." And I just go on about my business. Nothing. It was nothing. You just survived the most insane fucking thing. And this happened throughout my life, though. Things would happen to me, and like somebody says, "Have you ever felt like you were going to die?" I said, "Dude, I've had moments in my life where I don't know how I'm alive." It wasn't like I thought I was dead. I just assumed, "Oh, I'm dead. I'm not making this." And then I'm like still standing there going, "Holy shit, I'm still here." So, but anyway, that was it. My duck. And my dad came home, and he's like, "Well, what do you want to do?" "I want to go back home. I want to go to Illinois or Arizona where they don't have alligators and sharks and jellyfish and fucking things that kill their animals." I cried. And my dad listened to me, and we moved back to Arizona. Fuck, man. And in Arizona, we had rattlesnakes, scorpions, black widows, I never was bothered by them. I was raised, I still do it to this day. I shake out my shoes whenever I get up in the morning before I put them on. Hey, Big Al. It's Big Al, not Big Gay Al. This is Big Al. Does anybody not watch South Park?
No.
I
know.
can't stand South Park. I love the humor, but I can't stand the animation.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you
but
know
the
I don't
animation
like
was
it.
done that way on purpose.
Oh, I know it
was.
was.
Yeah.
I'm a fan of classic, fully animated, pencil drawn cartoons. Partial animation from the 70s. I know everybody's a fan of Hanna and Barbera. I can't stand them either.
Yeah, well, they did something now. They took something that was normally done at 24 frames, and by doing it at lower frame rates, they saved millions of dollars.
Yeah,
And were able to do
doing it on the twos, because Who Framed Roger Rabbit was so far over budget that a producer had to go to the animation studio in Great Britain and tell them, guys, we're over budget and we're 3 months late. Now you guys have been doing every frame separately drawn. The director's not going to want me to tell you this, so don't tell him. But start doing it on the twos. Basically, you take the same photo, you take the same drawing, and you photograph it in 2 frames, and then you go to the next frame.
It's a certain numbered frames you do that with.
Right. Exactly. And I mean, don't get me wrong. I could, if you get me started, I could spend an hour and a half talking about how Who Framed Roger Rabbit is one of the finest examples of animation and live action combined together that's ever been produced in the history of movies. But they finally arrived at the point where the perfectionist who was the director of animation on that was the guy holding up the entire project, and Disney was about ready to pull the plug and stop funding it. And it's a miracle we got that movie, because it took them 10 years to make it.
Yeah, it was a difficult shoot.
Oh God, yes.
So, I'm sorry, I'm saying happy birthday to it, buddy man. Speaking of birthdays, this week was Friday was my daughter's 25th birthday, which because I'm a jerk, I told her, I said, you are now 1 year away from the age I was when I joined the Army, and they told me I was too old to be joining the Army. I love telling my daughter shit like that. I don't know why I'm a jerk.
You were born that way, Gary.
It's true.
I don't know. I just think it's a lot of practice.
I'm also a product of my childhood. And my dad was a jackass. He would prank me all the time. And that's where I get it from. I think that I'm funnier than my dad, but my dad was pretty funny, but I'm funnier than my dad. And I'm also more lighthearted than my dad. Even when I prank people, I do it very lightheartedly. My dad was kind of malicious with it. And but I was told too that if somebody pranks me, I feel it is a moral obligation to make imperative that they never ever prank me again. So my prank is like an ender to any of interest in it. And I have done some things that, and like I told her one of the pranks I pulled on my roommate, Tom Rowe. And she goes, "That's horrible. You're a horrible person." I said, "Yeah, but he never pranked me again." And
You
with
used his
him,
dog for the prank. That's
he had a very elaborate prank for me, and everybody that I knew was involved with it, and they really got me good. And I'm like, well, I'm going to end that from ever happening again. So I went totally nuclear, and I had our dog. We called him Kurtz, Colonel Kurtz, and he was a little tiny dog, little short legs. He's adorable, and I trained him to pee and poop in his room. Starting using, we didn't have pee pads. I got newspapers, and I would lay them out, and then I would dwindle it down till it was just one corner, and that's where he would go. And so Tom would take him outside to the park for a walk, and when he was done, he'd come back upstairs and go right into his bedroom and pee and shit in his corner of his room.
And I just can't find that funny when you use an animal.
Here, it was fucking funny to me. And when he's like, I don't know what's going on with him. Every time I take him outside, the pee and poop, he doesn't go. But he gets back in the apartment, he pees and poops in my room. And I went, April Fools. He never fucked with me again. Same thing with Mac. Mac used to prank me. And then I pulled an ultimate prank on him. And he stopped fucking around with me. because I created a huge fucking problem for him because he had been fucking with me. He just kept fucking with me, Mac. Kept fucking with me. Finally, I said, okay, I've had enough of this. Of you pranking me. So I went and I took his 50-pound toolbox, and my apartment was carpeted, except for the bathroom and the kitchen. They were the only place in the house that weren't carpeted. And I took nylon rope, the really small nylon rope, looped it through the handle and put it up under the door, pulled his door shut, and pulled his fucking toolbox up against flush to the fucking door, and then pulled the rope out from under it. And when he came home, he couldn't get in his room. We lived on the fucking top floor. And he was befuddled. And I went, everything okay back there? He goes, yeah, everything's fine. He was getting so angry he couldn't get in his room. I said, well, what seems to be the problem? Nothing. Finally, he walked out. I said, where are you going? He said, I'm going to deal with something. I went, okay. He went out there, went to the maintenance guys, and got one of the big ladders, the extension ladders. And he put it all the way up to his bedroom window and had to break in his window to get into his apartment. He never pranked me again. If I ever pointed out that I don't like being pranked.
Yeah, I don't know. Sounds kind of woke to me, but I
don't like being pranked. And I will out-prank people when they do that to me.
Don't you ever dare prank me, just saying.
Hey, if you don't prank me, I'll never have to.
I will never prank people.
I have no drive to prank people. I don't have any desire for it. But I do. It's the nuclear option with me every single time. It's like, I'm going to go full nuclear on you, and you're going to wish you had never fucking pranked me. And
Gary, you reminded me of a story which kind of makes me understand how from your background in the U.S. Army, it was a funny story meant to make soldiers and people who'd been in the military chuckle. And it was, if you're a sniper and you fire at an enemy formation where you're not entirely sure of the nationality that you're firing at, you could tell who it was you were shooting at by their reaction. If you are shot at by 5 machine guns, they were German. And they went through like 5 other armies, and then they went to the United States. I said, if you get hit by a ballistic cruise missile from an offshore aircraft carrier, you just fired at the U.S. Army. And that's you responding to a prankster. Missile inbound impact in 12 seconds.
I will tell you the prank that set off the Kurtz prank. He had disappeared. He'd been gone for 2 days. And I couldn't figure out where he was. I'm like, I don't know where he's at. And his girlfriend, who was a close friend of mine, was just like, I'm really worried. I said, I'm getting concerned too, because he's never done this. His parents have called here, and so he's not up there. So I don't know what's going on with him. And then finally, one night, I get a phone call that he's been arrested. I need to get home. So I head home, and I meet everybody there. And we're going to go to the jail and pay his bail to get him out. And his girlfriend, everybody's sitting up front. I'm in the back passenger seat of my buddy's car. That was Kevin Durkin. I've talked about him before. He's a funny dude, Irishman from Chicago. Most of my friends, when I went to Eastern, were from Chicago. And we get to the police station. I give my money to his girlfriend. She gets out and goes into the police station. I watch her go in. She goes in there, and she's in there for quite a bit, like 15, 20 minutes. And then she comes out with Tom. And she gets into the middle of the front seat, and he gets into the passenger seat. And we start going, and I start doing the big brother thing. I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with you, dude? Why would you drink in public and then not call me to come bail you out? Why would you stay in there for 2 days? And he goes, man, I just don't want to talk about it. And we go about 2.5 blocks, and we're about to take the turn onto the main strip to go back up to where we live. And he gets like all freaked out in the front seat as I'm trying to talk to him. I'm like, what is going on with you? He says, I don't need this shit in my life. And we're doing about 15 miles an hour, and he throws the door open and jumps out into the darkness, just disappears over a knoll going down off the side of the road and into the darkness. No idea where the fuck he went. And we're all standing out there. Tom, fuck, man. We all get back into the cars. Just drop me off at my car, man. So he drops me off at my car. I get in my car. I drive to my girlfriend's house, and I'm hanging out with her. And the telephone rings at her house. It's her house there, and she answers it. She's, Gary, it's for you. And it's Tom's girlfriend. And she says, Gary, I think you need to get here. There's something wrong with Tom. What do you mean? What's going on? He's just not right. There's something wrong with him. I said, put him on the phone. I want to talk to him. Tom gets on there and goes, hey, buddy. I said, Tom, are you okay? He goes, yeah, man. Are you coming? What? Are you coming over? Where are you? I'm at the dorm, and we're having a kegger, man. You paid for it. And I'm just sitting there, like, just trying to unwind in my head what the fuck just happened. And I went, you're okay. And he goes, fuck yeah, I'm feeling great, man. Thanks for buying the booze. And plus, we got snacks. Get on over here. Oh my God, fuck you. And I hung up on him. And I sat on the side of the bed, and I'm just like, oh my fucking God. They were all in on it. That was a prank. It was brilliant. And it pissed me off. I was so fucking angry. I was also angry that I paid for a keg.
And then didn't get any of the beer.
I didn't get any of the beer. I didn't. And when I got home, Tom avoided the house for a bit. He stuck around his girlfriend's dormitory room for a bit. Finally, he showed up and he goes, "Gonna kill me?" I went, "No, man, I'm good." You sure? Yeah. Little did he know I had a plan. Gonna get him back.
All I can say is, Gary, if I ever piss you off for any reason, I'm going into witness protection.
That's wise.
I tend to not prank him. Now, there was a time, Red, I used to do pranks, because it was just the thing to do when you're younger. Did it in the Army. My favorite thing I did in the Army as a prank, there are 2 times, and they both involved condoms. And the first one was we had to get up extra early one day. It was dark, 0 dark 30. And I took condoms and I put them inside out with the sloppy stuff on the outside, not the lube, but the non-oxynol 9. And I put it over the handles of their foot lockers, up and over, and left them there in the morning. And I hit the lights to our room, came out and yelled, time to get up, everybody up, Reveille in 20, Reveille in 20. And so they're all like getting up, and I start hearing, oh, what the? They're getting a handful of that goo.
Yep.
Ew.
And then the next time, every weekend I would go into town with usually a different girl, but eventually it started being the same girl who I would eventually marry, Alicia, my ex that passed away. And they would collect up in my room on Sunday morning to hear the stories. It was really Sunday night. When I came back Sunday night, I would sit on my bunk and tell them what happened that weekend, because it was always a fucking awesome story. That was something that happened. And as I'm talking, I have been slowly with one hand opening and unraveling a condom. And I unrolled it to where it was completely out. And I said, we had just a great week and so much sex. And I went, oh, what the? And I pulled up a condom. And I said, oh, man, I missed the trash can. It hit my bag. And then I turned to one of the guys and went, "Hey, throw this in the trash for me." And I threw it to him.
That's just
And you should have
gross.
seen him. He went like this, slow motion. He totally Neo'd it, fucking Matrix, fucking jumping out of the way, leaning backwards like he's gonna fall over to avoid contact with that condom. But he actually at first had his hands open to catch it, and then he realized what it was, and that was fucking funny. That's kind of pranks I would do, little things. It didn't come big until people start fucking with me. Then I'm like, okay, I gotta fuck with you back. Also, when I was a paramedic, we would all prank each other. And one of the pranks I pulled was on this female that we served with. She went out on a call and she would bring her ferret with her in a cage. And I went in there and I got him out and I took him upstairs to the TV room and everybody was playing with him. And I had bought a fake ferret, stuffed ferret. And I sprayed a mist on it and then stuck it in the freezer. And then right when they were calling, because we have the intercom system, we could hear when they're coming back into the station. And right before they got there, I ran downstairs with this frozen fucking ferret and threw it into the cage. She screamed and then she went, "Oh, fuck you." It was great. Good times. Good times. That's it. The problem is, it's going to be hard to do my Friday show when we do Would I Lie to You, because I tell so many of these fucking stories. And these are kind of new ones I haven't told before. And Anima thinks, "Oh, I've heard every story." And I'm like, no, there are a lot of stories you've not heard yet.
It rarely happens that you tell a story and it's new to me. I know most.
Because it's hard for me to remember them because so many things happen. But then, like, something will happen and it'll trigger a memory. And I go, "Oh, fuck, there was that time." There's some of them that just lay right on the surface that I never forget. And there are those that I got to do a deep dive to remember. And there's some things that, as funny as it is, it's kind of fucked up. And I'm like, I best never tell that because other people might not really appreciate why that's funny to me. Because I have a very fucked up, dark sense of humor.
Yes, you do.
And I kind of laid into one time when I talked about how I rolled a guy on his side when I was working in the ER during clinicals. And I had to turn this guy and put him up against my body to spray his backside down. And then lay him back down and then spray him back over. And you're cleaning him before they go to the morgue. And when I rolled this guy towards me, he had gas buildup in his abdomen. And he let out the gnarliest sounding fart, just gross, slappy fart. And there were interns walking by and they stopped and stared at me when it happened. And I went, it was the dead guy. True story. I actually said it. It was me. It was the dead guy. And they just sort of looked at me like with doubt and disgust. And I'm like, man, they thought I made that noise. Dead people. By the way, if you didn't hear, Fauci got the African Nile disease. He's in the hospital.
Oh.
That's what I call karma.
No kidding.
Karma's a motherfucker. People don't believe me. So that's it. It was great having Red Shirt on. Great having deleted scenes here. Good friend of mine. And of course, Shanatsky popped in here at the end.
Saying nothing.
With his all-seeing eye.
How you
It's a
doing?
pleasure being here. Thanks.
And I want to let you know that any of us that are over 45, this is from all of us.
Oh, my lord!
Damn straight.
And for those with a sick sense of humor,
The following people are gay.
Fun.
what? For anybody that got missed on a breeze,
Honey, the front door doorbell is broken. Your old army buddy was at the back door for almost 5 minutes.
Yep. The karma boomerang. Yep. Or as we also refer to it as the karmic payback plan. So I want to thank everybody for being here. I want to thank Emmanuel. Let's see who else dropped in. I got to get past the comments here. Comic Relief Crusader, Mike. And by the way, you did put that up, right? The banner.
Yes.
He put it in a chat too.
Good, good. If you have a chance to share that out or contribute to it, he is in a huge struggle, unemployed, trying to find work, and he's trying to keep his family housed and fed. So he has his little GoFundMe going right now. So if you can help Mikey, please do. And if you can't afford it, please share it out. I deeply appreciate it. I want to, let's see, I want to thank Inner Circle for being here, Wolverine626, Wolvie, as I call him, FKHC 2005, let's see, Adega Outlaw, Our Muslim Uncle, Andy Morrow, Fluff Chick Productions, Connie Cleary, Mark Center was here. Oh my God, my buddy Mark Center.
I didn't
Look
see
at
him.
that. I didn't see the comments either. I saw Penny and I saw Vlad Steakums.
What?
I like that name. Of course, I'm not going to mention you. You're already in here with me. Sandra Hemislag, Kingsport Cow. I love that name. Sorality, Big Al Presents, and of course, our dear friend Bigman's Girl is here. Thanks, guys, for dropping in, hanging out with us. And I want to thank Brian for dropping in too. And of course, Red Shirt, Shanatsky and Deleted Scenes for being here today, man. Appreciate it, guys. Did you guys get to say all you wanted to say about Denzel and this movie?
I did. Yes.
All I got to say is a great franchise. I enjoy all three films. If you haven't seen them yet, we only scratched the surface. Just give them a look.
Actually, I have one thing that I didn't say. We talk so often about, the disastrous sequel where there is only one whatever film. For whatever its flaws are, this film did not destroy a franchise for The Equalizer. And I still enjoyed it. I was watching the beginning of it. I will watch it again this evening. And it led to a third movie. They are all good films. The first film surprised the living daylights out of me. This film didn't surprise me, but it was a fun ride because it starts off with a bang, even before you get to the titles. And that's rare these days because so many studios first of all, so many studios make sequels and reboots and remakes and everything, and they're all crap most of the time. So what I would say is, if nothing else, whatever you decide this movie is worth on your personal 1 to 10 scale, at least it didn't suck and it kept the franchise going. And that's not that common anymore. So it's a fun ride for that.
It's a good thriller. It's got some good action in it. Great fight scenes. I like it.
Yep.
Hit the like button if you're playing GTA.
There is, however, only one Equalizer TV series.
Oh, that is true.
Yes.
Mrs.
I've only
Redshirt
heard of one.
disagrees
The one
with
that
me,
came out
but we don't talk about that in public.
Yeah. So I'm in agreement apparently because I've only seen one and heard of one true Equalizer series. So we are here. I don't believe in no Roberta McCall. Fuck that bitch. Okay, we're out of here. Bye, guys. Have a great Saturday and enjoy the rest of your weekend. Ciao.